midnight, all of the best segments from all of our shows. And you can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline Sports News continues every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Mackenzie Flume.
Just like you, they're still talking about yesterday's game. The Afternoon Drive, weekdays at 2. 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Snap is back, hold, kick to the uprights, and it is good. Andre Schmidt nails a 50-yard field goal in the rain. This is a 54-yard field goal try. Boswell 8 and 9 this year from 50 plus. Kick to the west upright is up. I don't think it's got the distance. It's short and no good.
The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Rodgers to throw. Fade. Right side. Incomplete. No flag. Denzel Ward on the coverage. Play your guitar, Pro Bowler. Browns 13-6. They're taking over on downs, and they can take a knee. Evan Stefanski over the Pittsburgh Steelers at Huntington Bank Field. Shedeur Sanders takes a knee, and that will do it. 13-6. The Browns beat the Steelers. I don't care about the draft. I care about beating the Steelers. And it always feels good to beat the Steelers. A fantastic day from Jim Schwartz and this Browns defense. And they get victory number 4.
The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima. This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Audio courtesy of the UH Browns Radio Network. Super Bowl! Super Browns! Yeah! Thank you.
Kenny,
what a day.
You were the ambassador to the show that was at the stadium yesterday.
It was awesome.
How amazing was it?
It was awesome. It was one of the greatest sporting events I've ever been to in my life.
Do you believe in miracles?
I swear to God, it was one of the greatest, one of the most therapeutic moments, one of the most soul-filling moments of my entire life, certainly of my entire career. I could not have been happier to be there. I could not have been more thrilled to be there and to share it with everybody. And I've noticed this. Now, we got a lot to get to, and later on, I don't know if we're going to do it right now, I do want to examine, if I would have watched it at home, how I feel about a certain somebody compared to watching it in person. Because when it comes to a certain somebody who wears a certain number that's shared with an all-time legend who's his mentor, I walk down from 29 rows, it's section 537, and I'm thinking, oh, that's it, that he's the guy. He's the guy, and I'm there with bells on, my friend. However, let me explain this to you. So we went to the game. Well, excuse me, I went. You didn't go. I don't know, and I'm going to ask people if I should hold that over your head. But that's going to be for another day or for later on today. So we went to the game. Pony and Muller are absolutely excellent hangs. I hate to say it, but it's true. I've known both of those guys for a long time. Me, Pony, Muller, we went to the game. Muller just wore like a black like North Face. And then Pony wore, because Muller was afraid to wear anything Pittsburgh.
But he's also not a Steelers fan.
Muller is. Pony is, but he certainly is rooting against the Browns. There's no doubt about it. Like I think Pony would root for terrorism over the Browns. Like
I thought Muller's whole family was Browns fans, and he grew up a Browns fan.
Muller. So according to the story, Muller's family started a bar, and we went to it yesterday to like take a look around the place. It was almost like the Henry Louis Gates coming home. Like it was like a weird. Like, he's like, oh, man, this was here, and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, this is kind of cool, okay, because I'd never been there before. And credit where it's due. I'll get Geno's. It was a place called Geno's. I'd never been. Lima's like, oh, I've been there many times.
Guys, it's 6 a.m. Guys are there having a drink right now.
Cody was like, would Lyman ever be caught dead here? And I'm like, no. And Lyman's like, I've been there many, many times. I go, oh, my God. So it was great. People there were awesome. Muller was telling people, and then like I think he went on like a little mini tour of how it's changed. He's like, yeah, I used to crawl around. There was a pool table over there. I used to crawl around on it. Da-da-da-da-da. And then his family moved to Pittsburgh, and he was like 5, and then they would bring him back. Like he'd stay there for 2 weeks, like in the bar. as like a 7-year-old or whatever.
That's what we did back in the day.
That's what you did. That's what you did. So he went there. It was a good time. Then we went over to which I'm sorry, I've always called it Dino's, so I'm going to keep calling it Dino's because of the song. But Dina's over on Memphis, and then we went home. I went home, and then I assume they made it home all right. They went down the turnpike, and away they go. And I don't even know if they're on today. But the feeling in the stadium, it was so much like Pony wasn't that nervous. Muller was nervous. He was like, I don't know if I should wear Steelers stuff. I go, Muller, we won 3 games. There's going to be a lot of Steelers fans there, buddy. There's going to be a lot of Steelers fans.
That is safety in numbers.
And I noticed something. So there were a ton of people there. Way more. Like if they would have played like Jacksonville or something. Let's open up the phone lines, by the way. If they would have played Jacksonville or something, like who knows how many people actually would have been in the stadium.
Well, you could see it on the broadcast, too. You could see, as compared to, say, like the Bills game, actually there were a lot of empty seats. Up high, there were way less, at least what I was able to see on TV.
So I noticed something, though, is it was so cordial. Like, I'm sure somebody doesn't have that same story, but I'm like, I'm up in I'm with the 537 boys. I'm up there. There's a ton of people, and I just noticed it was cordial. And it came to me. I go, oh my gosh. I go, it's easy. I go, it's the holidays. You got a lot of people either in town, whatever. There's family members. There's a lot of mixed family members in terms of there's Steelers fans in these families. I was like, I guarantee it. Like, and there were a lot of girl was wearing the Brown stuff, guy was wearing the Steelers stuff, vice versa. A lot of grandfathers, but their grandkids were there. Like, I met this guy. His granddaughter was there. His daughter was wearing a Troy Polamalu jersey. It was her first ever NFL game. There were a lot of family members. And so that's why I think it was so cordial. Because then I think a lot of people were like, yeah, Browns are probably not going to win this game. And
so this was a lot of house and family divided?
Yes. And that's why. But there was nothing like I felt like when they played the Yankees, they lost to the Yankees in Game 5 of the LCS. I told you there were nearly 4 fights just on the steps alone, like on the way down. Like that was a very bitter Game 5. There was no. I saw like 2 guys and they kind of jawed with each other, and then that was it. I didn't see anything else. I mean, you got 60,000 people. I mean, there were a lot of people. There probably wasn't 60. There were probably like 45, 50. There were a lot more people there than I thought it was going to be. It was really packed compared to other late season games. And the feeling of it, I'm telling you, Tone, it was, to say therapeutic, I don't know if it's therapeutic, but it's like you kind of, when you watch every game on TV, when you watch every game in the office, like I get you're going to laugh and Keith Britton's going to send texts, but it's true. I got that feeling of Andy Roth, where Andy Roth goes, you really got to be here. You gotta feel it. I felt it. I felt like the feeling of the fans there. I'm like, this is me. It's been too long. I got to be here again. I'm like, we got to do this at least once or twice a year. Somewhere, like, it doesn't always have to be in the same section, whatever. But I was like, I got to see it at least once or twice a year just to have the feeling of the fans, to be there, to see what they're going through. Like, it was like, it was almost a big survey to see how the fan base felt. The real reactions, like going to the bathroom, hearing what they said about Shedeur, hearing what they were saying about Stefanski. I was in the bathroom when Shedeur threw that pick in the second half, like hearing all that. People in the beer line, people on the escalators. It was a real people feeling. And I'm a people person, so I loved it. I loved it. It was great. And I met a lot of great listeners yesterday. A lot of great Browns fans yesterday. Met some very nice Steelers fans yesterday. Just a hell of a day. And then they won the game. So that made it even better. I could not believe it was 10-6, and I just kept waiting. I go, it's going to be 13-10. We're losing this game.
Well, when Aaron drove him right down the field, he had been able to do nothing all game.
Are you talking when it was 13-6 and he drove him right down?
Just the final drive. He marched him right down the field.
I felt differently. I was like, they're going to let him get. I try to know it, but sometimes I'm just full of it because I kept waiting for the other shoe to fall, and I'm like, all right, it's 10-6. This is going to be 13-10. This is going to be the end of this game. And it never went that way. And maybe they were just trying to stay away from Miles so much. A lot of people drew that conclusion that they game planned away from Miles setting the record so much that it affected them actually scoring points and affected the final outcome, which may very well be a possibility. I think losing DK Metcalf was a big stop to that. I think that having Denzel Ward out there, I didn't know if Denzel Ward was going to go for the rest of the year.
He was awesome.
Denzel Ward made a tremendous difference.
I should say he's awesome. I don't know. He was only awesome on the final 3 plays because Aaron didn't try to throw the ball the entire game at anybody. And he lost his tight end, the 400-pound tight end, broke his arm.
That's right. Gosh.
So he had nobody. They had just signed Adam Thielen, and then he had his Scantling. What's his name? And he offered
Valdez
nothing.
Scantling.
Like he was trying to run routes with the game on the line. Valdez Scantling.
I got to get the Marquez.
Yeah, and he was trying to get free against Denzel Ward, and that was such a mismatch.
It was amazing. I'm like, oh my God! Like, and they went. Could they get the punt back? And I was mad that they punted. I got admit, like my emotions played in. I'm like, you got the ball at your own 30. You're a 3-win team. It's 4th and a foot. For the love of God, what are you doing punting the ball? I'm like, just go for it. Try to keep the ball. See what happens. And they punted it away, and I thought, here we go. And they went 4 and out. We get that easy field goal, run 3 draws, get the easy field goal. And even when they were driving, I'm like, they're going to play loose coverage. You're not going to play that usual press man. You'll play that loose coverage. I go, they're going to get down there. They're going to have a couple of whacks at it. And Pony's like, they didn't move the ball all day. I go, Aaron Rodgers isn't an idiot. They're going to get down there, and they're going to have a couple looks at it.
And he actually had to stay on his feet.
Yes.
And that's why you thought there were a couple instances I'm like, oh my God, Miles is actually going to get it now. Because the drive before, I'm like, it's over. Miles is not going to have any shots here. And on that drive, I'm like, oh, this could get interesting. Miles now definitely has a shot, and how poetic, how amazing would it be on this final drive if he has a chance to end the game, because a sack, effectively ends the game at any point there.
Yeah, it was. I thought if they had one timeout, it would have made a difference. If they really would have had one more timeout on that final drive, maybe it would have made a difference. So they didn't have any timeouts. So they got to go to the air, and now everything. Once you get to red zone defense, what makes it tough to score in the red zone is that you got everything in front of you, and you can't. When you play loose coverage, you're doing what? You're guarding against a deep shot. So they didn't want to give up the deep shot. So you give up what's in front of you, and they move the ball down the field relatively quickly. Well, now you can't get past anybody because you got an end zone back there. So everything's kept in front of you, and they couldn't find anybody, and ended up leading to the win. And I was surprised. I was excited. And again, everybody was just cordial, man. There were a lot of Steelers fans who were upset with Mike Tomlin.
Oh, yeah.
Pony and Muller were ripping me. They're going to win next week. And he goes, typical Tomlin, they'll win by 3 touchdowns. And you guys are going to sit there on the radio and go, oh, that's Tomlin for you. Because, they say that, funny over there, like Tomlin. Oh, that's Tomlin for you. Oh, you guys, when you're Tomlin. You guys can't see it right in front of you how terrible this is. They started going after.
They're underdogs next week, and that's the only time they can win. When they're favorites. Did you see that number when they are favorites over 18? That's 8 wins. That they are 8 wins better than.
No, I'm sorry.
1-4 or 0-4-1 in those games over the last 5 years.
I didn't know it was that bad.
So they always lose these games.
I saw that I thought you were going with a different number because I saw the Ravens' chances to get into the playoffs before yesterday's games was 4%, and now it's up to 52%.
Yeah.
So very strange friends. Very strange friends.
And it's probably going to be Snoop. It might not even be Lamar.
Well, Lamar's got the injury, back injury now.
But they might get TJ.
Doctor says he needs a backiotomy.
They think they'll get TJ Watt back. Because it was hard pregame. The report was, well, TJ Watt probably could have played in this game yesterday, which thank God he didn't. But had he, because he's had games where he's absolutely decimated the Browns and a rookie quarterback, how that could be. And Tomlin said, well, you didn't practice all week, you can't play. It's like, well, you need this game. You guys realize you need this game. And they acted all week. There was kind of a hubris about them where they just, I don't know. I can't say they didn't respect the Browns because they respected Myles Garrett. Holy crap, did they respect?
Yeah,
almost to a fault. Almost to where it probably lost them the game. I had
an eye on him the whole game. Well, I watched him the whole game.
You saw he kept lining up wider and wider and wider. My buddy's like, he's in the slot. He's never going to get home. He's in the slot now.
It was. I was like, oh, my God. It's like, you keep going, you're going to get chipped by someone on the sidelines by accident. It's like, I couldn't believe it.
Trip over Mike Tomlin.
Oh, my God. It was it was disappointing that he didn't set, because now I think that there's going to be, you guys know this, there's going to be an asterisk then if he does it against Cincinnati. which is going to suck, but the other team's got pros for a reason. They're not going to make it easy on you.
I thought about that a lot yesterday. It would, because already the Steeler fans were like, TJ tied the record in 15 games. Now it's going to take Miles 17 games. But, by the numbers, like, pass rush opportunities, like, he still has a chance to decimate this record. But, of course, nobody knows that number. Nobody cares. So his best shot, honestly, to make it memorable, is just have a monster game, because the Bengals are not going to play that game. Like, Joe Burrow is not going to be so afraid of Myles Garrett that he's just going to not play football. Like, he's someone who will give up the sack record, and I think he'll shake his hand. Aaron Rodgers was not going to do that yesterday.
No. Well, he's never sacked. He got close a couple times yesterday. He's never sacked Aaron Rodgers. Of course, I think it was only the third time they've played.
He had the Christmas Day game.
Yeah, the Christmas game. The Brett Hundley was the one who started here, where they were up by 14 in the fourth and then lost.
That was the overtime? They go to overtime?
That was Huntley. I want to say there was one other instance, but maybe I'm wrong, and then there was this one. So it might have been 2 or 3 times, and that's it. It might have just been twice, if I'm not mistaken. You might be right about that. But Aaron Rodgers isn't going to go down like that. Frankly, I'm kind of glad. I'll just say it, because I don't want it to be some stupid Brett Favre thing. I didn't want it to be that way. If you're going to get it, you might as well legitimately get it.
Well, Ken, he was just throwing the ball backwards anytime he was in duress, and his backs were getting lit up. So that's how like, they didn't even know they were getting the ball. He was just like, well, flip it. I don't even know who's around me. And then one time he ended up, it looked like he pitched it, and then you saw the replay. It's like, no, he got sacked and he fumbled, and the ball plopped up in the air. It just wasn't Miles. Miles would have gotten the sack record there had it have been him, because they went back and gave a sack. I think it was to Wright. But that play would have been the sack record, and you'd have been like, he didn't even go down. That would have been a weird attribution.
So now I was planning on doing this later. I think you're going to end up doing this in the next segment. How would I have felt? Because I think I might have felt a little differently had I been watching at home instead of in person. Because as I came down the steps at the end of the game, which I forgot there were such traffic jams coming down the steps after games. When I was coming down the steps, I said, well, that's it. He's the guy for 2026. I go, that's it. He's the guy. He's the man. And you said there were a lot of people feeling differently on the internet after that game yesterday. So you right now are drafted 6th after that win.
Yeah.
You are a 4-win team. Biggest win of the year. Merry Christmas, Browns fans. Does that mean that Shedeur secured the job for 2026? 216-474-0092. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app on a Browns Victory Monday.
176 north from 480 to West 14th, and Route 8 north from Graham to 271. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
There's only one place for a full recap of practice in Berea. Overtime with Jake Volnick. Weeknights at 7. 92.3 The Fan.
I think I had like a missed call from him, and then, or a text, something. I don't know. Then I just called him. I woke up like 6:30, called him. I'm like, dang, bro, why are you still up? And he was like, bro, I'm excited, bro. He was excited they just got the win, and he was definitely words of encouragement and stuff for me. But that's just how he is. Like, he not just doing that just because it gives them, a chance now. I think the overall person he is and time that we have spent together, he did nothing but speak life into me, and I truly appreciate him for that.
That's Shedeur and Snoop Huntley, who was vocal after the game, saying that he was rooting for, after the Ravens game, saying that he was rooting for the Cleveland Browns and Shedeur Sanders. Obviously, he spent a cup of coffee in camp with the Cleveland Browns. Then he started for the Ravens back on Saturday. Ravens won that game 41-24. Ravens kept themselves alive, and I'm happy to be winning that football game. So I had this. I want to know, did Shedeur secure the job for 2026? I want to hear more from Shedeur, because if you're going to secure the job, it's not just about some of the advanced metrics and the advanced numbers. You got to be able to lead. And is this going to be enough time to establish leadership? He talks about the winning culture Shedeur does in that locker room.
In the building and everything, we've been pretty consistent with what we've been doing. The only difference is now we got the result we were supposed to get, So I don't think the difference between a win and loss is a couple of plays. It wasn't about how you're going about your business, how you're doing everything. Everybody's going about their business the same way. Everybody's extremely locked in, extremely focused on what they got to do. But today we just got the result we was looking for.
So I'll come right out and tell you, I thought he did he went a long way yesterday, because I said, man, he's got to win one or two of these games to put them in a draft position where they do not want to be moving up. Now, if I was willing to keep an open mind last week and say, listen, I'm not going to plant my flag over this, so I'm going to do it again this week and say, I still got a whole college football playoff. Now, if Mendoza or Moore play to some obscene level that makes me want to trade up to go after them, it's going to be hard for them to do that. I will admit that to everybody.
Well, yeah,
it's going to be very hard.
Played their way out of that.
Yes, it's going to be very hard for me to want to give up, because there's no doubt that they have glaring needs, and they have a lot of them, which is, again, some of the conversations that we need to be having about Andrew Berry here over the next week before we get ready for Sunday or Monday, and whether or not we're talking about a new coach and maybe a new general manager or any of the other stuff. Like, we got to have these conversations, because I think it comes down to trust. It's not about what they've done. It's about what you think they're going to do. And if you are just there at 6, well, the guys who say, we want an offensive lineman, you can very sure as hell get yourself an offensive lineman now at 6. But Shedeur's got to play well enough and has shown enough to be like, all right, he can be my guy for 2026 and dare compete for it, because you're still looking at a veteran somewhere. You got Deshaun still in the quarterback room, where Mary Kay has been adamant they are not moving on from him just yet. You have Shedeur. I don't know what you're going to do with Dylan Gabriel. I have no idea about that. So I'm just going to put him up there, and if he gathers dust, and we'll talk about him at another point.
Well, Dylan's nursing a shoulder anyway, Ken.
Did this?
Saw that on the injury report on Friday.
Which I didn't see it immediately, and I did have that thought. I go, they're not, never mind. You know what? I'm not even gonna question it, because if you throw it out there in the ether, then people are gonna take it and run.
I did see a preliminary injury report, and it did say questionable with potential booze.
Okay. I knew you knew where I was going with it, and you decided to take it there, and that's what I appreciate about you.
So what a crazy game, because the first couple of possessions, really into the third possession, he had these commanding throws. I mean, Tony Romo was talking about it. The 2 to Jerry Jeudy. I mean, Jerry Jeudy kind of.
How was Romo, by the way?
Like that was the first Browns game and last Browns game he'll be doing this year.
I figured, but go ahead.
When he talked about Cam Robinson. Oh, this was a big trade. This was a big trade for the Browns.
No, he didn't.
I think he was a name and a number on a chart that he looked at.
Has there been a bigger fall from grace as a color analyst?
Tony's great if the game is close in the final 4 minutes, and like in the final 4 minutes, he was good. He kind of woke him up a little bit, or whatever he was doing at halftime. It woke him up.
I'll go back and watch. I don't mean to be mean-spirited. I've always kind of liked Tony Romo.
He didn't know the team. He knew Pittsburgh, obviously, but of course Pittsburgh had kind of a bunch of guys out.
Okay. You know, it's weird. We've gotten into it about Adam Archuleta and stuff and how nasty he's been. I'm like, well, clearly he watches the games and he watches and tries to do a good job.
Yeah,
But
he's done a bunch of Browns games.
Go ahead.
So-
You were talking.
so-
I bogged it down.
So it was an awesome start. You know, I don't know what. There's always this weird debate online. Well, it was the scripted play. Okay, so he ran the scripted plays and he ran them well, and he was throwing confidently. Remember, right at kickoff, like the weather conditions, they looked way worse at the stadium than they were outside my house.
They were not fun.
They
were not fun.
It didn't look like it was conducive to throwing the football, and yet his first 6 passes were all boom, 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 and he stood there confidently. I thought it was the only time the offensive line protected him was early in the game, and maybe that was more about the scripted plays than his play. Like I would actually say the scripting of the plays is probably why the offensive line held up early on.
What makes this game so significant is that you find yourself, and I'm serious here, guys, you find yourself in a spot where you go, is he unplayable?
No.
Is he?
Oh my God.
And
no.
that's the exact point. I think for a lot of Browns fans out there,
No, he fits right in.
You can't say he's unplayable. Yeah. I can't say he's going to take off and have this tremendous future, but I don't think he's unplayable. So he's not your typical 5th round guy. I think we've all established that. And then you look at where you're drafting going, do I really want to go up there when I do have all these other needs? Like, this is a tougher conversation than what we've had. Now, his season will finish up on Sunday or Saturday. They haven't made their decision. We probably will find out today. That's why you got to be listening to the fan to find out when the Browns are going to play the Bengals. We don't know necessarily when they're going to play, at least not that I know of. Maybe there was some news and I don't know, and I'm going to be embarrassed by Keith coming up in 3, 2, 1.
I thought they already scheduled the Saturday games.
Okay.
I thought the Saturday games are all important Saturday games.
I didn't know then, so maybe it'll be Sunday. So I was out. I was out with Pony and Muller for crying out loud. So they're always going to try to put the boots to me. He has his one more game on Sunday. You said they already scheduled the Saturday? Okay,
yeah, Carolina, Tampa on Saturday,
Excellent.
Seattle,
Okay,
San Francisco. This has Cleveland at Cincinnati, 1 o'clock.
On Sunday?
On Sunday.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. So Sunday is your final game. Thank you very much. After that, it's over. Depending on what the other 2 guys can do, that might make you start to go quarterback chasing and go crazy. And again, we got to think it's not just us and our opinion. It's also what you think the owner's going to do. And I know that the owner is desperate for a quarterback and is willing to move heaven and earth, obviously, as we've seen, to try to get somebody that he's convinced is going to be a great quarterback for his football team. So you also have to deal with that. Now, I don't want to tell people just get used to the idea, but yesterday, before that game, I'm getting texts and I'm thinking, hey, man, if you end up with a number 2 overall pick, because I did not think they were going to beat Pittsburgh, and I did not pick them to beat Pittsburgh. But if you're going to get the number 2 overall pick, you better be ready, because they might, even if you don't think Dante Moore's good, they're going to try to squeeze a round peg into a square hole or a square peg into a round hole. Now it's like, there's options there. And again, I think you start and finish with, guys, he's not unplayable. And it looks like I think he's taken little incremental steps. And I'm thinking, if he was able to do all this to get rid of bad habits, there's still some habits there that he's got to fix. But if he's able to do all this to get rid of bad habits in a short amount of time, then what could be if he has an entire offseason?
Yeah, as well. The thing is,
we have to keep open-minded.
Would it be the offseason as the guy, or would he be competing with somebody? Could there be, you also, people were watching Malik Willis and Tyler Huntley. Like, are those guys in play? Mac Jones, is he going to be in play?
They're all a conversation. Those guys are all a conversation.
There's so many teams that need quarterbacks,
there
too.
Are.
So there's competition.
But I also think, I look at it in so many ways. I go, man, he's been able to prove this much if he has a full 8 months to get ready. Yeah. And they got a full 8 months to watch him on tape. I understand that could be a disaster. But I can only go with what I know. If I got a full 8 months to get ready, could I bring him along, get ready for next year, and be able to do it? And also, when it comes to competition, do I really have any, like Mac Jones? I'll listen to Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones was set in a terrible spot from the word go in New England. And I think with good coaching, you're seeing that over in San Francisco. He's been significantly better. But I think a lot of other guys, I'm not entertaining this stupid Kyler Murray conversation. Let me underline stupid, and I never say that. Let me underline the stupid Tua Tagovailoa conversation. I will take Shedeur Sanders every single day of the week till my dying breath over those 2 guys. I do not want to waste any of my time, because I'm thinking, if we're going to do this and we're going to figure out whether or not he's our guy going into 2026, and we give 2026 he's the guy, I want to know, man. I want the best shot at it, and I don't want any time wasted. So if they go into the season and they go, well, we're going to have an open competition between Deshaun and Shedeur Sanders, who do I want to play quarterback for the Cleveland Browns? It's Shedeur Sanders. If they were to bring in somebody else, I'd go, why are you bringing in one of these other guys? With the exception of like one or two guys.
But so are you open to a legitimate competition? Because I think there's a lot of Shedeur fans who are like, no competition. He's the guy. And I'm like, well, he hasn't played well enough to be the guy, right?
He hasn't, but again, who's he facing? If he's in a competition with Deshaun, like, do you want to see Deshaun? I know you were at one point a Deshaun guy. That was 5 years ago.
I just
can't
imagine.
Do you want to see Deshaun over him?
Well,
would you be open-minded to Deshaun over him?
Listen, if it's an actual competition, then yeah, best man wins. Why would I be against that?
But how rare is it an actual competition?
Right.
Once in the last umpteen years?
And furthermore, like what athletically, what does Deshaun look like? And I'm not talking about his production team's videos. I'm talking about when he's actually running around in the field. What made Deshaun, part of what made him so great was that he was so mobile that he could just take off and get those 40-yard runs. Yeah, well, I can't imagine that he can still do that. So if it's just him having to make throws from the pocket when he couldn't read defenses at all the last time we saw him. So, and then his mechanics went south. So if it's Mac Jones, is it an actual competition? That to me would you be open to that? Because, even for the Shedeur fanatics, you'd have to say, like, well, so many of them wanted him out of Cleveland 2 weeks ago.
I'll tell you this, though.
Would you even be open to him competing for a job
If you go get Mac Jones, I don't think it's an open competition.
Mac's just a starter?
I think Mac's going to cost you picks. He's not going to cost you very much money. So I think San Francisco's going to turn around and go, listen, he's making like $4 million. You're going to give us significant assets for this guy. You want to make him your starter, then you're going to make him your starter, and this is how this is going to go. So this win, I had a blast yesterday. It does give you a lot to think about. This could have changed the course of history or the course of the future for the Cleveland Browns for a long time to come.
And this is just for the wider fan base as a whole, not just we love our Shedeur fans coming in on YouTube Live. I'm talking about the Browns fan base as a whole. Would you be okay with just saying this offseason, Shedeur is 100% the starter going into camp? It's his football team. Because I don't think he's played well enough for that at all.
I think a lot of them would say yes if, and I'll tell you that if coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan. 216-474-0092. Did Shedeur secure the job? I'll give you that if. I'll get to you guys as well. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima here. 92.3 The Fan after a big Browns win.
Congestion 90 east from Clark to 71. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Coming up, it's the Rams at the Falcons. Matthew Stafford and the Rams have clinched a trip to the playoffs. Now they face an Atlanta team looking for a third consecutive win. Join me and Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner for all the action on Monday Night Football.
The radio home of the NFL in Cleveland. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. $8:20 this morning. Daryl Ryder going to join us on the show. Did Shedeur just make himself the starter in 2026? I think the arrow is pointing as close as it ever had when we had this conversation to yes. As always, you can listen to this show and all of our local shows, 92.3 The Fan, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Take The Fan with you wherever you go. Listen to us on the Odyssey, iHeart, or TuneIn apps. So what did I say the if was? We were talking right before the break. And I said, like, the if was there. And it was like, you asked, can fans see themselves, before I get to these phone calls, 216-474-0092, did Shedeur secure the job for 2026? We also have to talk about somebody else's job coming up at 7 o'clock.
Where the whole organization, when they do their end-of-the-season press conference, let's say Barry's definitely coming back. I don't know about Stefanski, and we'll definitely have that conversation. But where Andrew Barry is sitting up there, remember, no Paul DePodesta now, it's just Andrew Barry, and he gets asked the question, Jeff Shedell nudges his way in and goes, hey, it's going to be Shedeur. I mean, he had some nice drives in that game. He beat Pittsburgh. And Andrew Barry says, yes, he is our quarterback next year. We are going into the offseason with him as QB1. I do not see that as a possibility. Well, you said you are as close as you've...
Well, there's no way he's ever going to say that because you never know how the draft's going to shake out. You always want to be...
That's fair.
Yeah, you'll never...
Okay, after the draft.
Sorry.
No, you're right. You were right to point that out. After the draft, when it's clear they don't take a quarterback at number... Today it's 6, but I still think a lot could happen in front of them. Of course, they could beat Cincinnati.
Let me ask you.
If Joe Burrow plays, Joe Burrow was looking good yesterday.
Scale of 1 to 10, how much faith do you believe the fans have in Andrew Barry?
Not much.
See, that's my if. Because it's like, man, you guys know this, and I know everybody. We need this, we need this, we need this. We do, man. We need a lot. We need a lot. That whole offensive line looks like it could be retooled at the end of this year, which I got mad. I was yelling at Pony yesterday because I thought we were not going to win this game. I go, we're not going to win this game, and damn it, I go, this is unserious. I go, I see 77 standing right down there. Zach Zinter wasn't even good enough to play earlier in the year. Oh, excuse me, good enough to dress earlier in the year. Now he's rotating in guard. Because I still have that issue. Because again, I had to prove her wrong before. Well, I hate to do it.
Teller was rotating until he got injured again.
I had to say it with Mary Kay. I said, God, they don't do this. They don't. If they didn't do it with Josh Allen, they didn't do it with Mahomes. They won't do it. They wouldn't do it with Lamar. And that's part of the problem I've had. I go, I'm supposed to be serious about this and give it a good, honest evaluation when I don't even think you guys are giving it a good, honest evaluation. That was my issue with it. But let me go back to it because I just got mad and we move on here, right? Let me go back to it. Is if you have faith in Andrew, because I got to tell you guys, you can sit there and go, well, we can't take a quarterback because we all need all this. Do you not want a quarterback, or are you just afraid to take another one? Because you know none of these guys will work without a quarterback. So you have to be pro Shedeur if you wanted to do that. The second part of it is the if is that if you think that he's going to mess up quarterback, he has messed up plenty of other positions. So it's if you have faith in Andrew Barry to do it. And I got to admit, I know this last draft was great. You have to look at the sum of all the parts, not just this last draft. And it turns from an expectation to a hope. And then I have to hope that you've added the right pieces around him, that the second round isn't this glaring hole that you've had, whether it's your fault or whether it's not your fault, whether it's just bad luck. And there's partially to that too. This second round is this glaring hole you've had for a long time. Are you going to be able to fix that? Like, there's so many questions that are there, which I'm going, man, we're just guaranteeing Andrew Barry to come back in 2026. Okay, but man, there's no way a lot of Browns fans out there feel a lot of comfort around Andrew Barry.
I wouldn't believe it. So the if is an unanswerable question because I can't guarantee what he's going to do here in 4 months. And all I know as of right now is that, yeah, there's some nice rookies in there, but you're also playing catch up with some guys because you weren't able to hit on a lot of picks beforehand.
Yeah, and obviously, look, whether it's Shedeur or anybody else, they're going to have some additions here. In the draft, free agency, even though I know by the number it looks like they don't have, but they could always manipulate some things to bring in some help, which they're going to have to do. Because you can't just have all rookies. I mean, you saw what all rookies leads to a lot of losses.
Yes, it
even
does.
if the rookies are good.
Yes, it does.
Even if they plug the holes that you were so desperately in need of filling, it's still a tough way in this league in 2025 to address everything with just rookies. So, and then, you're always going to have injuries. So, yes, obviously, I think you're going to try to add to that offensive line. You're going to add a receiver or two, maybe three to that receiver room. We'll see if Judy might just be back here by default because they might have to.
Because if it's Andrew Berry still here, I think that he'd probably still stay here. I think that's a $16 million cap hit, so it's not that much. But, Andrew's not been very quick to admit mistakes if there's been mistakes.
So you do everything you can to support whoever is a quarterback, whether it's Shedeur or anybody else. And I don't even think I think we're done when it comes to certain quarterbacks play a certain way, so you're going to build the whole team around Shedeur. I think now these teams pivot very, very easily, almost midweek, depending on who the quarterback is. I mean, you've seen that Jordan Love, Malik Willis. Okay, they play two totally different ways, but Green Bay has found a way to make it work with certain guys. So I don't even think that is that much of a consideration. I just don't think he's played so well that you have shut the door on any alternative, that it has to be Shedeur. Because, by the numbers, and I could trot out the numbers, people will roll their eyes again. I do it every week. I mean, it's him and Dylan Gabriel and J.J. McCarthy at the bottom of every single statistical number that the NFL has.
Look on the bright side. At least we didn't give up a first-round pick for either of our guys.
Right.
Got that going for us. Stanley in Slavic Village. You're next up on the Fan. Hello, Stanley.
Hey, I'm driving to work, and I'm listening about how we can maintain this mediocrity. It just kills me that the consideration for Barry, Stefanski, and Sanders is even being considered. Any team, any city and team and GM that wants to go to the top wouldn't consider retaining any of these clowns. This team blows. This team has...
Well, Stanley, how would you make it?
Record.
All right, Stanley.
The division blows.
Stanley, I'm not going to run you off. Hold on.
The Houston Oilers.
So how would you make it better? What would you do? They hang up?
You have to have a GM that knows how to build a team. And obviously he hasn't built this team. You didn't invest in wide receiver. You didn't invest in the offensive line. And none of those things that you didn't invest in are conducive to a rookie quarterback or any quarterback coming into a situation where the pillars of your offense are offensive line and wide receiver, and then a quarterback. And this GM misses that fact. And it's been years. So, and then they dumped Baker Mayfield when they almost beat Kansas City, and here we are.
Well, by the way, he's certainly returned to earth. I don't know if anybody else saw that game yesterday against the Dolphins. Stanley.
Losing in luxury in Brook Park. That's what it'll be. Losing in luxury in Brook Park.
All right, Stanley.
Have a nice day.
Okay. Well, you didn't give me any plan on how you were going to make things better.
I like that
I can bitch their ear off, too.
He started with that they were in the Central, and then used three different positions that were more important than the most important position in all sports, the quarterback.
Listen,
you build your team. What year is this that we're like, you build your team with offensive linemen and receivers, and then you get the quarterback?
Rip Andrew Berry.
Well, thank God for New England fans, they didn't listen to that because they wouldn't have Drake May right now.
You can rip Kevin and Andrew all you want. All you want. You got to give me a way you're going to make things better. Because if you were to fire Andrew Berry the next week, somebody's going to come in and inherit the mess. And when Stanley was saying, there's a lot of things I just thought were silly, but what he said about, he hasn't invested in what? No, I think he's making a lot of points there where he's upset with what this team is. And yeah, I think a lot of people still are. But it's like, okay, has he not invested in wide receiver, or has he made the bad investments in wide receiver? I think they're bad investments in wide receiver. Has he not invested in offensive line? I don't know. I was just bitching your ear off about Zach Zinter 5 minutes ago. And that was a pick I liked. Maybe they're going to be able to pull the nose up on him. I'm not sure. But there's a lot of things that, no, I would say I don't. But you got to have a plan on how you're going to make it better. You can't just say, well, we're going to invest in mediocrity just to get it off our chest. 216-474-0092. I mean, if you do, that's fine. But it like they lost 13-6 yesterday against the Steelers. They won 13-6 yesterday against the Steelers. So it sounds like somebody was upset that they won because it might entertain that some people might keep their jobs, including Kevin. That's in 5 minutes on The Fan.
squad still have a lot to play for in Week 18. If they beat the visiting Miami Dolphins and the Broncos lose at home to the Chargers, they'll be the AFC's #1 seed in the playoffs and earn that lone first-round bye. Listen to the Fan Rewind weeknights 11 p.m. to midnight, all of the best segments from all of our shows, and you can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline Sports News continues every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Mackenzie Flume.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive, weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan.
So did Shedeur secure the job for 2026 yesterday? And you know what? Did Kevin do it with him? Lima, you got something to read to everybody, though, before we get going?
Yeah, you can listen to The Fan anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app or by telling your smart speaker to play 92.3 The Fan.
Outstanding. Daryl Ryder joins us at 8:20. So is there any consideration for Kevin after yesterday's game?
Well, what'd you think? How do you think he coached yesterday? Because you said you didn't like that, it's not like their backs were against the wall and they punted the ball in a situation that you didn't like, and then they settled for the field goal down there, and the way he managed the game, which they won. So, by the outcome, you'd say he managed the game.
I thought they actually managed Shedeur pretty good, but pretty well, but I didn't. There was plenty of things that, I can't take back in real time. I was not thrilled about. But
clearly the scripted plays, that's where they got their points. Took advantage of the opportunities early.
Now, this might be results based, but my basis is I wanted to go for it on fourth down in a foot at my own 30. Why did I want to do that? Because we were a 3-win team.
Yeah.
Is that a reason to act irresponsibly?
In real life.
Is that a reason to act irresponsibly? Like, maybe. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe that right there is the microcosm of why at the end of the Bengals game they'll probably move on, it seems. But I got to ask anybody, the more you win, the better you play. I do think there is I think a lot of people have set sail on it and they might roll their eyes going, oh, come on. Hey, this team, this ownership does not like to make a change, does not want to make a change. They are doing their damnedest. I mean, you look at some of the things that they've done, and people get mad at that. Well, we're too involved. You haven't moved. You kept Paul DiBodesta way longer than any of us wanted to keep him until he left. You've held on. People thought Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski should have been gone last year. They won 3 games last year. They'll win 4 games this year. They beat Cincinnati. They win 5 games. If they end up 5-12.
Well, if Burrow plays and they beat him. Him and Jamar Chase plays and they beat him.
Aaron Rodgers played and they beat him. And that was a team that was about ready to wear the crown in the AFC North again. The question has to be asked. Kevin, could he save his job here in these final 2 weeks of the season, Tone? I think that with this team, there's a distinct possibility. Now, I think that if you were already considering it, I really think it should be the same way. I don't think you should go back on just 2 games and make that decision there. I've said so many times, I'm not going to fire this and the other. I don't think you should fire anybody based on anger. But I think if you've already made that decision earlier this year that, this is going to end at the end of the year, you probably stick to that decision. I think that's very college basketball to go back on a decision in the final 2 games of the year. If you had more time, say they would have won 6 in a row at the end of the year and vied for the playoffs, well, then obviously things change. Guys save their jobs that way.
Infamous Mangini end of the year.
There was the Mangini 4 straight, but you remember Jim Fossil, I brought that up numerous times here over the last few weeks. He was up against it. Then he put the push into the center of the table. This team's going to the playoffs and ended up going to the Super Bowl. Guys do save their jobs, but are the final 2 weeks of the season worth it for all of next year? Because you're not only dedicating it to him for the rest of the year, you're also probably putting the relationship together with he and Shedeur Sanders. There's a lot of decisions there.
Look, I do think there is a world that we live in where, and I think it's kind of insane, but a world we live in where they bring back Stefanski, they make Shedeur the starting quarterback, no real competition, and next year they start out 1-5, and we're like, well, that was silly. I do think there is a world we live in where we're all like, why didn't we just trust our gut on a lot of this stuff?
Not only do I think that's a world we live in, I think that's maybe the most realistic one.
Well, think about it.
Of what we could actually live through. I think that's the more realistic one.
And there's no doubt, like, the Browns, no matter what they do in the draft, the Browns win total going into next year, when we do when Vegas throws it all out there, I think they're going to be at the bottom. I think they'll be 4.5 wins. And they'll be close to the bottom. And so nobody is going to have real expectations the Browns are going to be good next year, regardless, by the way, of who their coach is and who their quarterback is. I think they're going to be towards the bottom, whether it's Shedeur Sanders, whether it's Mendoza, whether it's Moore, whether it's Mac Jones, whether it's Malik Willis. I think they'll probably be picked to be one of the worst teams in football to start the season next year.
When I said to you after, was it the Bears game or the Tennessee game? I think it might have been the Bears game. When I said to you after the Bears game, like, I have no more defense. Like, I don't like calling for jobs, but I also have no more defense of the job. I think that tells you what decision I think that they were going to make and what decision probably needs to be made. A separation for everybody. Again, I don't know if Kevin really even wants to be here. And so if I'm going to dedicate another entire year to this...
He looked pretty fired up yesterday, I got to say.
I think you're always happy to win.
Yeah, but
I think that in real time, I mean, again, why are the stories keep getting out there? Why are there always stories out there?
But it's amazing in this league how a few weeks can change everything. Think about how the fans... And I was here in the postgame on our station. I went some other places, too, on some podcasts. Just the temperature... It's just the level of optimism going into the offseason. It's amazing how the NFL affords you, after this disastrous, horrible year, where when we open up the phone lines every week, fire everybody, go draft a quarterback. It just takes a few drives in the
I know that.
In the 16th out of 17 games, and people are like,
I know that.
Could Stefanski stay? Whoa, Shedeur could be our starter.
That's why I'm asking the question. But I think it's way more likely that Shedeur's our starter in 2026 than Kevin's the guy coaching him. I don't think you can make decisions based on that willy-nilly. I still feel the same way. Now, winning obviously can fix a lot of things, but can you do enough winning at the end of the season? Beating Pittsburgh is a significant win because they were trying to win something. They were. So it wasn't like you were just in this first-round pick bowl against a team that was also not trying to win or whatever. But if we're always focused on the big picture, that's all this team is ever focused on. Big picture this, big picture that. It's never this, like, there are definitely people, whether you like it or not, that are in analytics or whatever, that did not like what happened yesterday, who are employed in the NFL, okay, that did not like that the Browns won yesterday. If we're always considering big picture on everything, then why am I going to, after I've said all this, why would I retain services after 2 wins? I know it's Pittsburgh and it's Cincinnati. Why would I still retain services after 2 wins?
The entire season just to feel good at the end of the year.
So what am I holding on to? To me, it's the equivalent of having a kid to save a marriage.
I think
you make a big time decision, you go into next year, and that's the most likely scenario you just played out.
And this is the lowest bar humanly possible that I'm about to state. Checklist item number 1 is they didn't quit on their coach. Okay, low bar. Like I said, it's the NFL. Why are we talking about giving up? But we do see it around the league. There are teams that have guys that have given up. Browns, that wasn't the situation. Check mark number 2. Your quarterback, it does not look like a 5th rounder. Does not look like the disaster that people like me may have thought it could be. Okay, that's, again, very low bar. That doesn't mean you're going to win games next year. That just means that wasn't the case.
It was a low bar.
Number 3, did you, as a head coach, did you outcoach the other team's head coach towards the end of the year, a team that's supposed to be going to the playoffs? Yeah. I listened to the Steeler fans talk about Mike Tomlin, and we're not talking about Stefanski that way yesterday. True. So that's another check mark. Again, lowest possible bar, because
what are you doing to me?
It's just one other coach that we're comparing him to. But that's the case. So these are very low bars that we are holding the Browns to, but you can't deny that all 3 of those are check marks yesterday.
We get to Frank and Gates Mills. Frank, you're first up on the fan. Hello, Frank.
Hey, good morning.
Morning to you, Frank.
John, you brought up the quarterback situation for the Browns. I think that's probably why Kevin will be let go. He clearly was the one making the decision to have Shedeur fit behind Dylan Gabriel, right? And that
by the way, I don't know that.
I'm not.
You said clearly.
I'm not fully sure on that myself, there, Frank. I can't assign that yet.
You think that Kevin Stefanski didn't have the ability to
at what point, though?
choose?
When would you have wanted to see that change in the pecking order?
Before Dylan Gabriel played. I mean, I'm
so
not
the guy that they drafted in the third round, you think Andrew Berry would have been cool with the guy they signaled, they circled. He's a top 100 pick. All right, we're already having him get eclipsed by Shedeur, who, what based on what did you see out of Shedeur?
No.
At
I
that
see
point?
your point. Your point is that because he was drafted before, he should be given the opportunity to play. But isn't the coach's job to put the best players on the field to give the players the best chance?
But there's also a point where guys get buried, they end up not looking like the best players. Now that would fall under Kevin's jurisdiction. But let me tell you this here: I've been picking some up, Frank. And Frank, I'm not even arguing with you here. Let me just say this.
I'm not either, because that is their job. You're 100% right. But when they have 4 quarterbacks, and Andrew Berry brings in 4 quarterbacks at the same time to have two quarterback competitions in conjunction, but on different sides of the football field. Like, how is anybody supposed to evaluate?
I'm going to tell you this.
Well,
let me tell you this, Frank. I got to clear the air on some here. There's been some that's been said over the last couple of months here that's bothered me more and more, and it's been a trickle, but it's picked up more as time has gone on. I don't believe that Andrew Berry was as on board as what some folks are now making it out to be about draft. In fact, I firmly, strongly believe that he wasn't as on board with taking Shedeur or believed in Shedeur the way that some believe that he believes in Shedeur. I don't know where that got picked up. By everything that I know, by everybody I talked to, I think that they took themselves a lotto ticket, and so far, we haven't scratched off all the things on the card yet, but so far, it's looking like our numbers are starting to come up a little bit, right? And that's okay. You can get a little bit lucky. That's fine. But I didn't think that there's no way he was pounding the table over the week to go out and get Shedeur Sanders. And somehow on the radio, that's been starting to pick up like, well, he's his guy. He's like, I don't think that.
We heard very differently around the draft time about that, but go ahead.
Was he pounding the table for Dylan Gabriel?
Who could pound the table for Dylan Gabriel?
Who was ever pounding the table for Dylan Gabriel, or who was ever choosing to play him over Shedeur, is the one that I think is going to unfortunately be not unfortunately.
Pay the fiddler? Yeah. No, and Frank, that's not.
Jimmy Haslam knows that
answer. I think
answer.
you end up being right about that. I think you will end up being right about that, Frank. Thank you for the call.
Jimmy knows that answer. I guess Paul DiPodesto would have known that answer. Maybe he was responsible for it. I don't know.
I'll tell you this, and somebody's going to have to answer for this, and maybe it is Kevin. That's why, Frank's not off base.
Yeah.
Is you could go, fine, the rest of the draft's been good. We took this guy in the third round. It wasn't that he was just the third. Now, I had a problem with you took a guy that you admit's going to be a career backup in the third round as a quarterback. You said that right off the rip. We're in a position where we need all these players. You've hit on it like Carson Schwessinger's a starter. Had Quinshad Judkins not got hurt, he's a legitimate player. Dylan Sampson has shown flashes. I mean, you can go on for the draft class. But then I got this guy who people don't ever want to see again play for this football team. Let's call it what it is. And I'm thinking, I'm sorry. If I would have played Shedeur Sanders for so much more time, I probably wouldn't be stuck in this position. Where now I have to make either a crazy, right now would be seen as crazy move to go out and get a quarterback that maybe some people are lukewarm on at best, or give an entire season to a guy where he has looked good and I think he's grown. But the second I say that to anybody who's looking at the numbers, they go, Ken, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, if he would have played...
It's hard to make an argument.
I wonder, had Shedeur been given more games and then just these are still the numbers, where he's still at the very bottom of all these different numbers, would that have been more conclusive for you to move on from him?
And that's what I'm saying. If this was supposed to be an evaluation year, what are we evaluating? Are we evaluating a guy who has a higher ceiling than career backup, which is Shedeur Sanders? Are we evaluating him, or are we evaluating a guy that it really is, he's going to be a backup, if that? And you took him in the third round? Okay, so Andrew allowed it. You guys thought partners together. Andrew doesn't, so he only answers for the good picks now. Okay. Because he answered for the bad picks too before, but now the draft is only the good picks this year?
Yeah.
Like, you can get rid of Kevin. All right, good things or decent things come to an end. Wasn't good last year. It was good the year before. Things come to an end. I can understand that. But it doesn't mean you have a full-throated confidence in Andrew Berry going into 2026. It can't. 216-474-0092. Ken Carman, Tone Master General. Lima likes at 7:45 on the Fan.
about what's going to happen with the IRS. Stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-568-6533. 800-568-6533. 800-568-6533.
Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
From the Kissling, Nestico, and Reddick Traffic Center, call 1-800-HURT-NOW.
An exit at 90 East at Carnegie has the right lane blocked with slowdowns from 71. Traffic's light eastbound on 480 from Stearns to 176. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
Whenever you need to talk college football, we've got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
We'll get back to Shador coming up here in a little bit. Also, Daryl Ryder going to join us at 8:20. The future of Kevin Stefanski, whether or not that could change with this win yesterday against the Pittsburgh Steelers, whether or not that could change if they win another game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Because now if you beat the Steelers, who are very much in the thick of everything, Bengals don't have much to play for. You're on the road. You beat the Bengals. Then all of a sudden it's like, well, are you sure? Are you sure? And plus, there's plenty of people who didn't even want to win yesterday. We'll address all that. I got one thing that I want to bring up, Miles, with you. What happened earlier in the game between Devin Bush and Aaron Rodgers that led to that at the end of the game? I thought for a second, I thought someone might swing at somebody.
When I first looked
unbelievable.
up, I'm like, is that my, you're kind of like, you're on the internet, you're looking up. I'm like, was that Miles? Because that would have been something if it were Miles. If it were like in my mind, I started to fantasize about a world where Miles let him have it about taking the cheap way out of not allowing the sack record.
Yeah.
Compromising his entire team's chances to win. But no, it was Devin Bush. And
what did Devin say to him?
What is the history?
Well, he played in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think, somebody's going to, this is why I got to bring this up, because somebody, if I run up the flagpole, someone's going to find a press conference or something from earlier in the year where some question was asked, and then we could start to unravel some things or find out more. So, like Devin Bush, because I'm at the game with Pony and Muller yesterday, and obviously I have a rivalry with Pony. Pony called Devin Bust when Devin was in Pittsburgh.
And he kind of was, because he was a high draft pick, right?
To bother Pony, I might add it to that. But Devin's become our guy because rarely...
He was 10th overall?
A guy goes from...
He was 10th overall, Devin Bush.
But there's a lot of guys who tend to go from Cleveland and they end up playing somewhere else and they end up contributing somewhere else. And there's multiple reasons for that we talk about all the time. Rarely do we get a guy who struggles at another place, a well-known place, and then comes here and ends up being a really good ball player for us.
Rarely happens.
Devin Bush has had a really fine year. And this is a good defense, so you can't just say it's like, well, yeah, he's had a good year for the Browns, but someone's going to make the tackles. He's had a fine year, a really nice season. He's been good for the last couple of years, and this is a good defense.
Jerome Baker, too, by the way.
And Jerome Baker,
another one.
Yes. So you have a guy that started out, it was rough in another place, and here he is in Cleveland, and he's done a fine job for this defense. I just want to know what the hell was said, because it was bizarre. Like, the game ends, and he is immediately right up there and jawing in his ear, and then Aaron Rodgers turns around. The refs have to get involved. It was amazing. It was amazing. So maybe Daryl will join us at 8. When Daryl joins us at 8:20, I got to ask him what on earth happened earlier in that game that would lead Devin Bush to go say what he was saying to Aaron Rodgers, because that was something. Now, to the Miles thing, we had brought up the term asterisk. People got upset on the internet about it. I already saw. I don't want to say asterisk, but it was the first thing that we thought of over the last couple of weeks. We had Siciliano on, everybody's like, yeah, if you do it in 17 games, there's going to be plenty of people go, yeah, but when you do it in 17 games. And there's the ifs and the buts and everything like that when we start counting games. How silly can it be? But when he does it in 17 games, if he does it next week, if he's able to set the record in 17 games, it's going to be, well, was he able to do it in 16 games? Was he able to do it? And somebody brought up Reggie White did it in like 12 games, which, boy, that seems to be
He had 21 sacks,
wild.
Right? In 12 games. TJ Watt had 22 and a half in 15.
Yes. And so if Miles does it in 17...
Even though Al Baker...
You know what's going to be said, guys. And they didn't even count him, yes.
Al Bubba Baker had 23 unofficially, way back when.
Yes. So you know what's going to be said.
1978 for the Lions.
I don't like saying it,
you know why it's going to be said.
This is one of those records
it's
that
going
is
to be said.
a total mess. Kind of like, I guess you'd say what home runs became in Major League Baseball. This record is a mess. You have the unofficial, you have the official, now you have the amount of games that have changed over the years. Really, really one of the great numbers would be, and we do know it, and Miles would be number one, I think, running away with it, is actual available, and look, it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue.
Yeah.
But like pass rush scenarios where he's actually had less opportunity than everybody ahead of him. But nobody knows that number, and nobody cares. Nobody's ever said it before.
Well, there's also, you bog down every record. Everybody bogs down every single one. Like when you get to the home run record, you're right about the home run record. There's plenty of other things when you add a 17th game in. When guys were setting records for single-yard passing, well, what were the rules when it came to guys in the secondary in the 1970s and 1980s compared to what it is now? Like, you were allowed to do a lot more things in the secondary in the 60s and 70s than you are in 2025. That's a given. However, you're seeing how a lot of quarterbacks are struggling now with a whole bunch of different things that are going there, which makes me nervous because I don't want them to change the rules anymore to benefit the offense, to bastardize the game even more than it's already been bastardized. But that's a conversation for a different day. Like, records, I think no matter what, there would have been a way to find Miles' record and to say this, that, and the other about it, how many games a guy did it in, how many games another guy did it in, whatever it might be. If he gets the record, we'll call it a record. You just know, and I'm fine with it, if he gets the record next week, you just know that you're going to be arguing about it for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
You know, you're just going to be arguing about it.
It's not going to be with a bullet.
Now, I could go, if he goes out there and he just does a rodeo, yes, he gets 5. He has a really big game. If he does a rodeo job on Joe Burrow and swings him down, it's an actual sack. I can look at it and go, yeah, Joe Burrow didn't take a dive the way Brett Favre did. I can do a million things if I want to. Records, while there is this guy did this and that guy did that, to records, there's arguments about it when it comes to this. There is. And like last week, some people, there's no such thing as style points. Yeah, there are, because it's the first thing. It's the first thing I know a lot of people I know bring up when it comes to Michael Strahan's sack record was Brett Favre.
Yes, they do.
Laying down for him.
It's a highlight that we have seen forever.
And then Gastineau in the ESPN in the 30 for 30 confronts Favre about it.
Yeah, wants an apology.
Of all the things you could want to confront Brett Favre over, this would be the latest. He wanted an apology for it. It was big stuff. So, yeah, like there's going to be argued situations, whatever it might be with the record. But now that it would be 17 games, yeah, there's going to be the historians will get involved. And his jerseys, he already has a jersey in Canton, I think, for the 5-sack game. I forget. But when the jersey goes into Canton after he sets the record, there will be, did it in 17 games. Michael Strahan did it in 16. XYZ. They're going to have to keep that accurate. Don't shoot the messenger. That's just how that's going to go. 216-474-0092. Paul and Canton, you're next up on the Fan. Hello.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hi, Paul. Go right on ahead.
Hey, I was thinking, as in just the common sense of going through the process. You know, I don't think Mendoza or these guys, or rather John Elway or Andrew Luck, and that's what you would need to say, hey, I'm definitely taking this route, because your picks could go to really recognizing your last place offensive line, your last place wide receiver, your last place special teams. If you have Shador there, then you could see, you give him that year, and you put that talent around him, and you get to see it. Then guess what? If he's not that guy, you're back there with maybe a better, quarterback class. But I think one of the problems is that Stefanski, you got to get rid of Stefanski, because he clearly never believed in a quarterback. It was rather horrible talent evaluation, or it was personal. You're 6-25 in your previous 31 games. You've been through 13 quarterbacks. It kind of ran its course. I would elevate Schwartz to the head coach, Reese to OC, Deshaun's your backup.
Do you think the offense has looked that much better with Tommy Reese?
Still the OC.
Do you think he's looked that much better?
No, I think it's been better, but there's too much blood in the water, as they would say. It's too much. Understand this, Matt Flynn and Russell Wilson, they chose Russell Wilson when they gave Matt Flynn big money. Same thing would say you have Alex Smith is balling but then you bring in Pat Mahomes. Somebody there is responsible for when you bring in someone like Shedeur Sanders. He's 6'2", known for being accurate. He's Deion Sanders' son, so you know the lights aren't too bright. He's mentored by Tom Brady. If you have a 40-year-old journeyman quarterback who's already been there, knows the playbook, that guy should be splitting first-team reps starting training camp. This is just letting talent speak for itself. But then you have all this stupid stuff. He won't say his name for a month and a half. He got the wrong wristband. Oh, this wildcat stuff at the 2-yard line. Just comical stuff that I would have gotten, benched in high school for. That's just stuff that's got to go. It's unprofessional. Now, if you look at that, you look at this season, you look at this division. This division could have been had. And the issues with the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Bengals are foundational. They're not about to get over those issues.
So then what are you doing about Andrew Berry?
I could keep Andrew Berry, but I'll make sure
if it's foundational, you could have won this division, and your players aren't good enough yet.
And he's the one that drafted Dillon Gabriel.
Yeah, the good ones are puppies, Paul. Like there's a shared response. They call themselves thought partners. They're thought partners. It's not just all of a sudden one guy gets all the good ideas.
Oh no, by no means. What I'm saying with that is that do I think that Andrew Berry said, "Hey, do not start Shedeur over Dillon Gabriel"? I don't believe that at all. I mean, if you read those tea leaves, no, I don't believe that at all. Stefanski, if you won't say somebody's name a month and a half publicly, that's personal.
I think that's internet stuff.
I think that's.
If you were around the building, he was saying Shedeur's name.
I agree with Lima.
Okay, it could be, but the truth of the matter is, it just is what it is. He's 6'2". If you want to get through,
Paul, that's all you need to say. That's all we need to say. Yeah. And because I'll tell you this again, it's a shared thing, and there's no way on earth, and I don't know how long you've been listening, but I said it last hour, and I'll continue to say it till I'm blue in the face. And Paul, again, 6-25 are now 7-25. That's still not a good record.
No.
And thank you very much for the call. But when it comes to Andrew, it's like, I'm not going to sit there and give him all the credit in the world here. There was no way he was pounding the table days before for Shedeur Sanders. Not a chance in hell. I can guarantee you that, guys, personally. But you can get yourself a great player if he becomes one, and you can be a little bit lucky even. It's perfectly fine to do it.
It is funny how rumors over the course of a season turn into fact. But like the Shedeur people are all saying the same thing he did. Wouldn't say his name but he said his name plenty. We have press conferences. He said his name, but because Emmanuel Acho, Josina Anderson, RG3, because a bunch of people with their own podcasts or their own forums that are pretty big just started stating things as fact, it became fact. And it's like, we actually have plenty of times where Kevin Stefanski has said positive things about Shedeur Sanders.
Frankly,
it's just he was fourth string. He was fourth string, so he would have been talking about Joe Flacco first. He would have been talking about Kenny Pickett first. He would have been talking about the guy they drafted in the top 100 first.
It is my belief that I think Kevin knew that 4 quarterbacks was going to be a hell of a ordeal.
A stupid idea.
Like what a lot of people feel with. And couldn't believe that there were 4 quarterbacks that they had to go and work with. And so he was left with that. But again, for Andrew, like I can't have one without the other. Like you can keep Andrew. I like them both personally. We've said this a bunch of times. But it doesn't mean I'm going to have a bunch of faith in him. You've had one really good draft. Thank God it was your last one. Or I don't know if he'd still be here. I don't think we'd be having that conversation. You've had one really good draft. The other ones, you could poke holes in all day long. And it's part of the reason why when Paul calls in and says this division could have been had, yes, this division could have been had, but you were so weak at some of your other places because of the holes that were created by this. And don't give me the Deshaun Watson contract because we've been over that a million times. Yes, somebody else guaranteed that money. We know who. Whose idea was it in the first place? 216-474-0092. Coming up at 8:20, the dangerous one, Daryl Ryder. Tone, there's a lot of things I know you didn't like over the last week. One had to be Christmas Day. Is that going to get brought up tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Lima Likes, or I should say, is that going to get brought up today? Lima Likes, coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan.
think it's time for you to share a bite like a pro.
No. Get your own at factormeals.com. Factor, eat like a pro.
From the Kissling, Nestico, and Reddick Traffic Center, call 1-800-HURT-NOW.
This report is brought to you by Wayside Furniture in Akron, keeping it local since 1937.
Stop by Wayside Furniture's year-end furniture clearance with unbelievable savings for every room in your home. 1367 Canton Road, just south of Route 224, Wayside in Akron. Keeping it local since 1937.
An accident Route 8 north at Graham has the right lanes blocked, a 25-minute delay from Portage Trail. Light traffic eastbound on 90 from Crocker to Euclid Avenue. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
Don't trust anybody with your Cavs coverage unless they have sports in their name. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Does Lima like or does Lima no like?
Like.
Tell me likey. I'm liking it. I like it a lot. No like. He doesn't like you. I don't like you either.
You're tacky and I hate you.
Like or no like. Like or no like.
But I definitely knew what I liked, and I definitely knew what I didn't like.
Folks, Browns just beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in a game the Steelers absolutely needed. I would tell you to do Super Bowl, Super Browns, but
I already did it.
We got to make sure the throat.
Yeah, I was screaming and yelling yesterday, right in Pony's face.
How early did you get to the game?
We didn't get in until about 12:40. Because I was like, hey, you guys are downtown. I was like, once you get in the stadium, you're in the stadium.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not like you need to go see Script, Ohio. It's like, this is the pregame. You'll get to see everything you need to see at 12:55. Go enjoy downtown. I'll meet you around 12:40. And I did. They were right by the steps to go in the stadium at 12:40.
Yeah. All right. Well, here we go. How about Kevin Stefanski, ladies and gentlemen?
I'm like
12-6 versus the AFC North at home. Are those keeper numbers? Is that good enough?
That sounds like a really bad argument that I would laugh at a caller about.
Isn't that crazy, though?
That sounds
12-6. So that's the thing. They've always been able.
I would expect them to laugh at me if I made that argument.
Remember, when he started in 2020, and obviously the COVID year, they make the playoffs, but one of the things we initially said about Kevin Stefanski is they're beating the division. Remember, for 20 years, it was losing to Joe Flacco, Big Ben, and even Andy Dalton. They had lost in extreme ways to all those teams in the division. And yeah, they still have their issues going on the road to Baltimore and Pittsburgh, but holy cow, at home they have had they have had no fear in going up against those teams, regardless of whether it's lopsided when it comes to record. So it's just a little. I don't know that a lot of people are arguing to keep Kevin Stefanski, but I've got a number for you, handy dandy. Keep it with you. 12-6.
12-6
versus the division at home. Plus,
Lima like.
We can talk about not being able to evaluate the quarterbacks, having Shedeur Sanders buried on the depth chart, not saying his name, even though we know for a fact he said his name. Folks, they can evaluate kickers in 2025 because they have themselves a freaking kicker.
I want to apologize to Andre Schmidt personally.
See the difference yesterday.
I want to apologize to Andre Schmidt personally. And if I'm in the building today, if I get a chance to talk to him, I'm going to apologize to him personally. I wanted to, and I the one day, I swear to God, he walked right by me, and I had no idea. He was wearing, I thought he was like a trainer. I didn't know. He's a kicker, guys. Rex Sunahara stands out. Rex Sunahara looks like he's like 8 feet tall.
Saw him at church on Christmas Eve.
You did you?
His brother are the Twin Towers.
Really?
His brother played at Georgia basketball. They are enormous.
What did I say about him that he threw that tweet in my face? Because I forgot he's from here and all his friends are from here. And they were like, Ken was talking about cutting you or trading you or something. He goes, no, I can show you right here. I was like, ooh, forgot you're from here. Yeah, but I want to apologize to Andre Schmidt personally. I'm sorry. I got emotional after week one. I'm sorry. They were right. I was wrong. You're good. I'm not. I'm sorry, Andre, if you're out there sincerely.
It takes a man as a radio host to admit they were actually wrong.
It was a silly thing to get upset. It was a silly thing to get that upset about, and I will learn my lesson in the future. It was a dumb thing to get that mad about.
There are times you got to swallow your pride, admit you're wrong. Like, I wasn't wrong about Baker Mayfield, so I don't have to admit I was wrong on that one.
I still don't believe in, quote-unquote, developing a kicker. You have your flashlight on, by the way. But I think
Boomer
that
moment.
They can be, they can obviously get better over time. Yeah. And obviously he was better. He's been better. He's very good for them. Lima Light.
Ladies and gentlemen, Carson Swessinger, grade A football player.
Got a game ball.
For the Cleveland Browns. And why did he get a game ball, Kenny? I don't know if you could see this from the 537 up in the rafters.
Saw a couple of plays.
Dude, he got the game ball because he was stumbling around in the second quarter, banged up, injured, to the point where sideline reporter was like, I don't know if he's going to come back into this game. Not only did he come back, he limped around the rest of the game. And hey, if Aaron Rodgers,
hard ass, everybody.
If Aaron Rodgers couldn't take advantage, there was one play. There was one play where he drifted it over him, and you're like, oh man, if he were healthy, he would have jumped up and gotten a piece of that, or maybe even picked it off. Because we've seen that this year. Carson Swessinger, you throw a ball near him, like he's going to get his mitts on it. And he weathered those conditions. He weathered the injury, and he completed the game, Kenny. Now, was it the smartest thing in the world? Who cares?
What do you mean?
Who cares?
They win the game?
Yes.
That was the smart thing to do.
Yes.
We should bring back the Hardland billboards and put him on the Hardland.
Yeah, that's personified.
It's all good ideas, except when I'm saying to cut a kicker.
So I will say,
Lima New Life.
Christmas Day games were a total disaster, total waste.
Which one? Are you talking
snoozer.
NBA?
No, I'm talking football.
Oh,
I'll get to the Cavs in a second. Total snoozer all the way around. Boy, did the NFL turn it around yesterday. Because not only did outsiders might have called it a slop fest between the Browns and the Steelers. That game went right down to the wire. The comeback attempt by the Buffalo Bills in the fourth quarter, after that game was a snoozer, and then all of a sudden Josh Allen has them in position. They run a hook and ladder on fourth down for like an 8-yard play. That's how bad their offense was all game, that they relied on a hook and ladder. And next thing you know, Josh Allen's lined up, 2-point conversion, a chance to beat Philly. The crowd was going absolutely bonkers. Tom Brady was on the call. Kevin Burkhardt, it was amazing how just the theater that was involved in that game. And then Josh Allen just missed a wide open tight end or whatever. Game on the line. He missed it by like 2 feet. By like 2 feet.
Huh?
Wide open. The play worked. They had a chance to win the game.
I ended up watching that game live.
That was awesome. And then last night, Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams, one for the ages, could be a sign of things to come. What we might see in the playoffs could be a NFC Championship matchup between those two teams.
I only saw the end of that one on replay.
It was
Wild
awesome.
game. Wild game.
It was totally awesome. I can tell you what absolutely was not awesome.
Lima no like.
Cleveland Cavaliers on Christmas up 17 multiple times during that game, but apparently I could have just stopped watching in the first quarter. Listen to the coach.
I rarely say this, but I thought the game was over in the first quarter. 8 turnovers, I believe. We had 8 turnovers. Their physicality, we weren't ready for the fight. And I don't know how else to say it. Encouraged after the Knicks game because we were ready for the fight. But tonight we came out, I don't know, call it what you want, Christmas hangover. I have no idea. It's hard for me to, it wasn't the same team that played the other night against the Knicks. And they just kind of manhandled us physically. I didn't like our response.
Yeah, they blew those leads on Christmas, then come back for the Rockets game. And I was excited for this Rockets game. I was like, all right, let's see what our team is made of.
I want to go back
And
there.
It was blowout city from the get-go. Not the guy. I said first quarter, it was actually, I thought he was being a little harsh, but you could just look at the players on the floor, and the talent just didn't match. The size, the athleticism. Honestly, both our guards had no chance driving into those guys. Remember, they don't really have a point guard on the Rockets. Every guy is 6'8" and can jump, and then you had Steven Adams in there.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
I don't want to run you over. It's the worst loss of the Core 4 era. Christmas Day was the worst loss of the Core 4 era. I didn't see Tracy Morgan that much on Saturday Night Live than I did on the sidelines the game on Christmas Day against the Knicks. Yes, yeah. I could not believe it. And every star is stage and screen. Jerry Ferraro is probably there whooping it up. It was honestly, it was disgusting. And my dad doesn't care about basketball. My father-in-law actually does. So he was kind of keeping an eye on it. I was just sitting there in the kitchen just looking at it. I cannot believe what I'm seeing here. I could not believe it. I was like, they're up 17 in the fourth quarter. Hopefully this is, they're going to turn it around. They're going to start, this is where they start turning around. Nope. Did their soft-ass stuff that they usually do, that they're known to do. It was the worst loss of the Core 4 era.
Tonight, They got Wemby.
Great.
They got Wemby.
That's 3 in a row.
And, folks, it's on Peacock. And I want to congratulate
Lima Light.
I have a lot of Michigan fans in my life. You have a lot of Steeler fans in your life. I want to congratulate them. They hired a really good football coach.
Why were they giving him the door at Utah?
I don't understand what happened at the end there.
That was weird.
I didn't know that. I think it's one of those parting of ways. Michigan hired a really good coach, and this is someone from the Urban Meyer tree.
I know they had like a coach in waiting there at Utah because he's been the coach here since Urban.
Yes.
People didn't realize how long he's been the head coach there. And so maybe the powers that be were ready to move on to the coach in waiting. I was like, whoa, Kyle Whittingham's a hell of a football coach.
He is. So I posted this. Age when Woody Hayes coached his last game versus Michigan, 65. Age when Bo Schembechler coached his last game versus Ohio State, 60. When Kyle Whittingham goes up against Ohio State, now he's coached against them before in a bowl game, but when he plays them in this rivalry game, he will be 67 years old.
I saw your tweet. I want you guys to go back. What was Bo Schembechler's last year? Do you know? I want you to go back and take a look at Woody Hayes in 1978.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever Bo Schembechler looked like in his last year in 1989 at Michigan. And then go take a look at Kyle Whittingham.
Kyle's a beast, dude.
Good-looking man.
Yeah, he is.
Good-looking man.
Silver-haired fox in every aspect. Yeah. The guy throws down in the weight room. He is a good coach.
He looks like he could shoot on me.
I think Michigan wishes they would have had him, 10 years ago. That's it for Lima Likes.
Somebody already looked it up. I saw that because I follow a couple of college football accounts like the Sickos and things like that, and somebody did it already. A Michigan fan did a deep dive. Keith probably knows about this. Like I looked up his Instagram. He follows 3 women, 2 are his daughters. He hasn't posted on Instagram in 10 years.
Perfect hire for that team right now.
There you go.
Perfect hire for the culture.
I don't know if he's going to be there for more than 5 years because he'll be older in dirt. But you know what? Just get somebody back on the right track because the other part was a mess. Daryl Ryder, 8:20. Coming up next, the ones that are skeptical. I want to ask those watching at home yesterday if from me in the 537 was I watching through Shador glasses. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, because I'm an excitable boy here this morning on The Fan.
Well, we were
from all of our shows, and you can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline Sports News continues every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Mackenzie Flume.
We want to just say, should it be Shedeur? Should it be somebody else? Who is the somebody else? I would say right now, I think I'd rather have Shedeur next year than drafting a rookie that's not named Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore. I think there's something to be said for seeing what Shedeur could do with a full offseason, seeing what Shedeur could do with better people around him.
Catch Odyssey NFL insider Ross Tucker on Afternoon Drive every Wednesday at 4. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I got a big question to ask people. I got a little question to ask people first. We got Daryl coming up at 8:20. Should I hold it against Tone for not coming with me to the game yesterday? They were sorely disappointed in you. Pony and Muller were very disappointed. And I said, I'm thinking about holding it against him the rest of his life.
Well, you can blame my sister on this one.
I'm not just going to blame your sister.
Because
they didn't understand how his sister's kind of his mother in so many ways.
She was my guardian there for a few years during a tumultuous time in the Lima household.
Yeah.
When I was 15, 16, 17.
Yeah.
But she we thought she was coming in for Thanksgiving. And then there was some weather. Remember, they drive in, kind of a last minute thing. They couldn't do Thanksgiving, so it became Christmas. And then when that happened, I knew that this was not going to happen. Because we were talking about doing this for Thanksgiving. Then why didn't
you tell me?
Well, I started dropping hints because I didn't want to. I didn't want to get the big man mad at me. Because this has been a thing between the two of us.
Would have just been fine.
Over the years, the two of us, for whatever reason, have been two ships crossing in the night on separate occasions. Whether it was birthday parties, it was me coming from Mount Union drunk, trying to stop by your house last minute. It just has never really worked out.
That's another thing where if you would have just showed up at my house, I wouldn't have invited you in. Like, you can't just, you didn't invite me over. You said it yourself. You were loaded. I don't want you in the house talking to the kids when you're loading. Actually, maybe I do.
They're coming in hot that day.
Yeah. That was a long time ago, though. That was when they were little. Now it's fine.
Oh, now they might be kind of toasted up.
I mean, they're getting there. They're getting to that age.
I feel bad, especially because they won. And now it would have been amazing. I definitely had FOMO. At the start of the day, my wife's like, seeing the weather, especially the night before, my wife's like, oh, you're going to love just sitting on the couch, kicking back. And then after Shedeur had those first two drives, I'm like, I should have been there.
It wasn't that bad.
I should have been there, and it looked like it got better. The weather got better throughout.
I wore layers, and I was quite warm. It was like, because I got in the truck, and it was like 63 degrees. My truck said 63. I'm like, oh my God.
I took the kids outside. I took the kids outside for the final Aaron Rodgers drive. I had it on the phone.
It was, wow. It was, so I thought about that. I'm glad you brought that up. I go, do I hold it against him?
You should. I felt bad.
Well, this is the thing. I'm only putting the boots to the show if I lead you down some primrose path and say, oh, I can't make it. The other thing is I thought about it because I'm always trying to think of all angles. I'm sure Keith will throw into my face that I've never been there for your daughter's birthday party. That she's 3 years old. I've missed all three.
Yeah, 0 for 3.
But I'm 2-1 on Axel's football games because they are always on a Saturday in the fall, and Axel has football, and I'm like, well, we're 2-1, so. On your daughter's birthday, we're 2-1, so how am I supposed to take any of that back? So I'm not going to miss coaching football. Your daughter's going to have more birthdays.
Yes, she will.
She ain't going to remember these, and it doesn't matter. Like when she's when she's 10 years old and you want us to come over, okay, fine, she'll remember that one. But she ain't going to remember the first, second, or third.
And she knows you now. When she sees you on TV,
she does.
She that's Ken.
And she's nice. So real quick, Kayla, should I hold it against him for not coming yesterday? Because it was a blast. Pony and Muller had even in the loss, Pony and Muller had a blast.
I think it really depends on the situation. I know your sister came in, but was she there all day Sunday and you just couldn't leave the house? Because it sounds like you were just sitting on your couch watching the game.
Well, no, I would have missed her. She would have gone to Chicago, and then that would have been it.
That would have been it.
So yesterday we were still. It was like the last remnants of this holiday weekend. So I feel. Who else from the show was it? So it was a show event, but who else?
It was just Pony and Muller. It was Pony and Muller and me. And
Owen didn't show.
Owen had wrestling,
and I saw Owen.
And Donnie wasn't coming. Which Donnie's on the group thread. He did not take. I think he was having FOMO himself.
So he didn't participate.
Yeah.
What about Mitch? Was Mitch there?
No, Mitch wasn't there.
Were any of the other 10 prior producers
involved
with it? None of them.
No, they were not. No.
I wasn't invited.
Well, Kayla, you were invited? Would you have gone?
No. Yes.
You would have. You had no responsibilities?
It was an effing blast. However, I had such a good time.
It looked like it would have been so much fun.
It was amazing. And there was a...
Because you know how these end of the year December crowds get raucous?
Yes.
Like
it was nice. I'm telling you, everybody was pretty cordial with each other. Even in like the Browns upsetting them, it was just really nice. Everybody was so nice and full of the spirit. And I got to take pictures with people, and they were really there were a lot of Pittsburgh fans. I will tell you this. It's probably for the wrong things, but Pony is a very well-known personality there, and there were some guys from Pittsburgh yelling Pony as he walked by, and I go, I cannot believe this.
Now, is it in a favorable way or not favorable?
Mostly favorable. There were a couple people, because Pony brings the Maloik with him wherever he goes, and that's probably why we won yesterday, because he was in attendance with me. But either way,
he turned on Tomlin again.
Oh my God. It was like, thank you for bringing that up. For whatever reason, he had service and I didn't, and I was watching him tweet, and it was like watching Beethoven write a symphony. Just these terrible takes that he always has, and I'm just sitting next to him going, I can't believe I'm watching this live. This is amazing to see this process live. I'm like, he should charge money for this. How bad these opinions are. It's amazing. I'm laughing in his face. I look like Ricky Bobby in Talladega Nights when he was celebrating. Just in his face, he's standing there staring ahead, and I am screaming. The guttural sounds of Busch Light spittle going in his ears, and he is just sitting there seething, going, I can't believe I'm dealing with this right now.
How did he like the 4th and 1 go route?
He thought that was the dumbest thing he's ever seen.
Kenny, that was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
I thought the same thing you did. He thought every decision that was made was probably dumber than the last. He was so mad. Malsey was pretty contained, but Pony was getting more and more agitated as time went on.
It was one of the rare games. Like, there's so many games where our defense, if you try to run the ball up the middle, we just stuff you. We couldn't really yesterday. They ran the ball effectively. The only time we sniffed out one of those lateral plays that they lost like 4 yards on in the fourth quarter. Other than that, like when they just handed the ball off, they always went forward. And I thought, man, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, I thought they would just run the ball forward. They didn't. Remember, they also had the 4th down. They ran the same Mark Andrews play.
Yeah.
So they had seen that on tape, and apparently that'll work next week too. They got like 40 yards down the sideline on that play. So they could have just ran the ball, and I feel like they would have gotten it.
So I was obviously really excited. They won to win a Browns game, which I still have. I think I'm 29-20 in my life.
What is the record?
I think 29-20. I think that was win 29.
That's the best record anybody has in that stadium.
At home in a Browns game that I've gone to.
Dude, I'm like 4-45 in that stadium.
I'm only 1-13 at Cavs games, so there's a difference. I don't know my record with the Guardians.
Obviously, go back if you missed it at the start of the show. Ken was going nuts. And you had a grin ear to ear. Yeah. You're talking about, maybe the quarterback, maybe the coach, maybe they both come back. This is a culture-defining win, all that stuff.
I want to know.
I was at Run, William, Run, so I don't think that would have eclipsed Run, William, Run.
Well, at that game, you probably would have thought William Green was going to be the next Jim Brown.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought this up. I got to bring this up with Daryl, and I want to bring this up with everybody. For the cynical ones out there. Like, I walk down those steps, and I go, that's it. He's our guy. I was walking down the steps in section 537 with all the 537 boys, and I'm walking down them steps, and I'm high-fiving people as I come down the steps, and I'm going, we got our guy. He's the guy.
Isn't that beautiful?
I go, we're not drafted in the top 2 next year. He's our dude. And I didn't look at a lot of the internet because, we went to Muller's family's bar and all that other stuff. Was I seeing it through Shador glasses? Because you said the internet had a far different reaction. And then when I do look at the stats are not illuminating. They are not. But I'm an excitable boy, and I saw a quarterback beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I didn't think he was too terrible at all. He wasn't A++++. It wasn't Josh Allen out there. Okay. But are we not in a learning period? Are we not in an incubation period? I'm going, well, I know we're not going to have. I thought we might be 4th. I can't believe we're 6th right now in the draft order. I go, man, you're 6th. I don't know if you're moving all the way up from 6 to number 2 or 1.
With a loss to Cincinnati, and there's a lot that could happen because a lot of teams could be resting guys next week.
Yeah,
that could actually help the Browns. They could theoretically get up to 2, but it's highly unlikely. Of course, if we beat Cincinnati, that's not happening.
So I thought Shador was great. Am I wrong? For those of you watching on TV, Nance and Romo, Lima was watching Nance and Romo.
Romo was very...
Tracy Wolfson on the sideline, right? She's great.
Romo was very positive for Sanders, obviously, in the first half. Second half, he was not that hard on him like I think some other announcers would have been. But he kept saying the same thing a lot of the fans say, which is, well, we need to see more.
When he threw the second half pick, I was in the can.
Yeah.
And because they play the game on the radio through the stadium, and Andrew called the pick, and there was just F-bomb after F-bomb after F-bomb dropped by every man in the men's room. And I dropped a few myself. And then washed up, went back up, and we still had it, took care of the business, played well enough to win, got the win. And on the way down the steps, I'm going, here we are. I go, he at least gets 2026. And I go, well, let me think about it. So the cynical ones out there. Was I just basking in the afterglow of a Browns win against Pittsburgh while my friends who happen to be in Pittsburgh are here and I get to rub it in their faces? Is that how I felt? Are you willing to say that to me? Should I admit that maybe I was a little over exuberant here?
I think
should Daryl tell me that? I want to know.
Yeah, well, okay, without parsing it and say, well, who's available? What are you going to do in the draft? What are you going to do for 18? Just thinking about Shedeur and what you saw yesterday, and again, you were in the stadium, and man, I miss those days of being kind of liquored up, leaving that stadium. Normally it's after a loss, but you do jump to conclusions more. You're not taking in the full evaluation. You know, you can definitely be persuaded by groupthink in a stadium, just like you can on the internet when you were at home, you know, taking shots at a team or being cynical. So I can't blame you for leaving the stadium feeling that way. They beat Pittsburgh. When do we ever feel good late in the season with a game against the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Never.
Very rarely.
Very rarely. 216-474-0092. All right, I want to ask you guys. All right, fine. Let me get one in because this will be quick before we get to Daryl. Hello, Lewis.
Hey, how you doing today?
Doing well. Go ahead.
I just wanted to talk about Shedeur because I think that if given a chance, he shows all the attributes to be a quarterback. You put a line around him, he would pick you apart. And secondly, he has good pedigree. I think if you look, no one was more upset about that stupid interception he threw than his dad.
So let me ask you this though: was I right? Oh my God, his dad was in shambles.
Man, was he mad?
Was I right? Was I right to feel that way walking down the steps? Is what I want to ask.
You're right. I think that because you look at Trevor Lawrence. It took Trevor Lawrence 5 years, man. Why are we so hard to say, hey, you gotta be a super? He's a student of the game.
Lewis, you know that, though. They're going to give, he was number one overall. They're going to give number one overall all the time in the world.
But all the bull crap was Shedeur go. The talent level is there.
Yeah, I understand.
The bull crap is what dropped him back. The talent is there. He can pass. If the man gets time to throw the ball, he's the type of quarterback I think that will pick you apart. He never had that in Colorado. He always fought for his life. Every place he went. I would love to see him with a good line.
If they were still number 2 or number 1 in the draft, Lewis, I'd be singing a different tune. Thank you for the call.
Would you?
Like, man, yeah.
Would you really?
Having to move up that far? And if they win next week, they'll be at the back end of the top 10. They'll be a 5-win team.
No, but you're saying if
it should be, right? 7 or 8 or 9.
If they were in the top 2, you would say hand to Cardin. One of those two quarterbacks?
Would I? No, I wouldn't, but I think I would come to terms with the Browns are desperate for a quarterback. They're going to go after one of those guys.
I mean, Mendoza puts on a show and takes Indiana to the national championship and caps off a Heisman year and an undefeated season. Like that, he's probably already going number 1 overall.
I'm going to give up all these other assets for him.
Now his name will start to become Andrew Luck.
I understand that. You're right. But man, I'm going to give up all those assets for him again. We're going to do this again.
Well, you wouldn't have a chance. You wouldn't have a chance to get him. Jets have more ammo.
Understood. But winning that game made things a lot different and a lot more difficult to be justifying making a move in the draft to move up to go after a guy. I got a guy who has a little bit of talent here. He's been able to prove some things. Let's see what he's got here. That's what I'm thinking.
And I'll have the numbers. I'm working on a handy-dandy chart that I'm going to put out on social media. Kenny, I know you love the charts.
Oh, I know you love the charts.
But comparing Cam Ward...
You won't be paying attention to the second half of the show?
Probably not. Tyler Shook, Cam Ward, Who's the other one? Help me out here.
Brian Sipe.
No. But I've got a chart, and obviously it's not favorable
Todd Philcott
towards Shedeur, but all the rookies, that were drafted here, and Jackson Dart, they all look like, if you put receivers around, if you put an offensive line, they've all shown that they can make all the throws. That's the thing. What are the odds of those 4 quarterbacks? And Quinn Ewers looked decent yesterday. I'm not even including him. But what are the odds that of those 4 guys, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, they're all starting quarterbacks in the NFL?
I want to ask Daryl about that coming up next, or whether or not I'm seeing it through a different prism because I was having so much fun in the stands yesterday. Ken Carman, Toadmaster General, the dangerous one in 5 on the Fan.
Anthony.
Doesn't matter the situation. No credit, bad credit, first-time buyer, bankruptcy. I got you. So call 440-366-5501 and ask for Sullivan Rogers. That's Sullivan Rogers at 440-366-5501 because I'm that guy.
From the Kissling, Nestico, and Reddick Traffic Center, call 1-800-HURT-NOW.
An accident Route 8 north at Graham has the right lanes blocked, a 25-minute delay from Portage Trail. Light traffic eastbound on 90 from Crocker to Euclid Avenue. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
There's Cavs and there's NBA news that happens while you at work. Baskin and Phelps. Weekday mornings starting at 10.
Let's get right to it. The dangerous one, Daryl Ryder. Kayla, tell everybody who Daryl's brought to you by.
Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Thank you very much. Daryl, hello.
Hello, boys. Happy Victory Monday.
Same to you. What'd you think of
Poor
Shador?
Pony.
Well, that was a great day. What did you think of Shador yesterday?
First half, really good. Second half, not so good. But bottom line, got the job done.
So I said to Lima just before we had you on, like I'm having a little bit of a weird moment here where I watched in person and I was up there with the fans and all that other stuff, and I'm having a blast. And I came down the steps yesterday and I go, well, that's it. He's the guy. 2026. Give him 2026. And that it has come to my attention here over these last several hours that the internet didn't feel that way. People watching at home didn't necessarily feel that way. So I'm trying to find either a happy medium or maybe the truth, and I just didn't want to see it because I was so busy being excited and celebrating a Browns win. So what is the truth there, Daryl? Did he make himself the starter in 2026 yesterday?
No, I don't think he made himself the starter in 2026 yesterday. I said this on the post-game show with Andy Baskin on YouTube. There is something there with this kid. I'm convinced of that. But he needs a lot of seasoning, needs some polishing. And I am curious to see what a full offseason of getting a legitimate opportunity on the practice field to make himself a better player during the offseason and as well as in training camp, what that might do for him as far as his on-the-field play. But there is something there that I am very interested in exploring. But the Browns being the Browns and in the situation that they're in, time just isn't on their side. And I don't know if they have time to let this kid develop into something or to see if this kid will develop into something. But what is clear is that he does listen to coaching. He seems to be taking in the advice that he is being given during the week. He doesn't act like he is infallible. He owns up that second interception was just an awful decision. You can't do something as reckless and careless as that. He owned up to that after the game, and I give him credit for that. I would prefer that he just doesn't throw that football altogether. But same as you, Ken. I mean, I was checking the mentions on social media, and people were getting after me, saying how they can't wait for me to talk about how awesome Shador played and how great he is, and he's not there yet. But the thing is we've seen stretches, we've seen glimpses of really, really good football from him, and that's why I would like to see the Browns give this kid a chance in 2026, but I'm not convinced that they're going to do that.
It's interesting because there's no doubt you could say that about every rookie quarterback. Like, give him an offensive line, give him coaching, give him an offseason. And certain guys, they absolutely take leaps, and then a bunch of guys don't. In fact, you'd probably say majority of guys that are rookies that are throwing a lot of interceptions, he's got 10 now in 6 starts, which is a lot. Right. When that happens, like 98% of those quarterbacks end up just being bad. And I asked Ken, before we went to break, of all the rookie quarterbacks that are getting, ample amount of time, Jackson Dart, now Tyler Shough, Cam Ward, you could say the same thing about all of them. They've all shown, just like Shador, and in fact, they've shown more because they've had more opportunity. They've all shown amazing moments. They've all shown to their fan bases that they could be really good if the right team, remember, they're all on bad teams. So if you put the right amount of guys, right coaching, give them the off seasons. But what are the odds of these 4 guys that any of them are the starting quarterbacks for their team in 3 years? I'd probably say not very high.
Well, I mean, look, Peyton Manning owns the world record for interceptions as a rookie, and he turned out well. And listen, I'm not saying that
And then there's Jameis Winston. And then
I know. I'm not. Again, I'm not saying that he's Peyton Manning 2.0.
Let the man talk, Tone. Let the man talk.
But you don't know unless you give him a shot. And I think that he's done enough to deserve the shot. I'm not going to sit here and say he's the long-lost solution. I've been very consistent in that as he's gone through these starts, the good ones and the bad ones. I'm not sitting here saying he's the franchise quarterback of the future. But what I am saying is I think he has played well enough in stretches to where it is worth exploring whether or not he is. And if he is, it's the ultimate jackpot for the Browns because they will be paying him nothing for the next 3-4 years or so. Actually, it's 3 years because he's got a 4-year rookie contract, being a 5th-round pick. But yeah, I mean, it's worth taking a shot at. I really believe that. I think it's worth taking a shot at.
So what is that, Daryl? What does that mean? Take a shot. Like, are you not putting him in a competition next year with a veteran? Or are you ruling out taking or trading up? Now they're down to 6, but still could get up to number 2 based on what happens this weekend. Are you ruling out trading up to get Mendoza or, the Oregon quarterbacks escaping right now?
Yeah,
Dante Moore.
Yeah.
I think I'm good on Oregon quarterbacks, quite frankly.
Daryl, that's not fair.
Come on, I'm just having a little fun with you.
Okay,
Ken.
He's having fun.
I'm sorry.
It's Victory Monday after a Steelers game,
sorry.
Ken. These don't come along all that often,
true.
Except for when they're played in Cleveland.
I stand down.
No, you can put him in a competition next year and make him earn the job. But he wasn't in a competition this year. I know the organization says he was. He wasn't in a throwing footballs in training camp to the ball boys. You're not in a competition. Okay, it really was a 3-man competition. They really had no designs of playing Shedeur this year, and yet here we are. Right. So, I'm not saying that he's absolved from any type of a competition for the job or anything like that. All I'm saying is let's give this kid a legitimate chance in 2026 to show us what he's made of. Also, I would not trade up for a quarterback right now. I don't think that the Browns can afford to do it. They have so many holes on the offensive side of the ball. They need to spend those picks on players.
Don't think, Daryl, a great quarterback can transcend or supersede any of that?
I'm not convinced there's a great quarterback in this draft.
If there were, then would you change your mind? Like if Mendoza goes on an unbelievable run to take Indiana to the national championship status, goes undefeated, wins the Heisman, that's not worth trading up for?
How many Heisman quarterbacks actually pan out in the National Football League?
Daryl, you don't think...
Take that, buddy.
Wait. You don't think...
I'm asking a question.
Wait,
I'm not being a smart. I'm being sincere.
You're
how many Heisman Trophy quarterbacks tend to pan out in the NFL?
What's the number?
Get his ass.
What about Heisman Trophy winners that win national championships that have a top 5 grade in the draft? Like what? They're not all created equal, obviously. There's a bunch of guys won Heismans and won national championships that were basically running backs in the 80s. Like I think we're talking about a different situation. Like you don't think Mendoza right now is a top 10 quarterback?
I'm not sold on him.
You don't think he will?
He's not the reason he's not the reason Ohio State lost to Indiana. Their defense is.
You don't think that he will go top 10?
No, I think he will.
So you think everybody?
Do I think he's worthy of that right now? Well, I don't know. I have. I'm sure he's going to go number 1 or number 2 because that's just how this thing works. But do I think it's worth the Browns giving up multiple first-round picks to go up and do that? Right now, I'm not sold on that prospect.
So, but could you be sold on him if he makes a run in this playoff coming up? He could have 3 games against a bunch of NFL talent. If he beats Ohio State again,
I'm open-minded.
Oh, okay. Didn't sound like it until that sentence.
Daryl, what did Kevin Stefanski do anything to help his future with the Browns yesterday?
I think a little bit. The one thing you can say
is... Wow, Daryl, he's dangerous. Continue.
Well, no, the one thing you cannot say, we can sit here and gripe about game management, decision-making in games, play calling, all that, right? It's all fair. The one thing you cannot say is that this team quit on him and that this team does not play for him. They played yesterday hard. They played like they cared yesterday. That has been pretty consistent late here in the season when you look at where they are. And when you basically have everyone and anyone in the locker room basically saying, take your draft position and stick it where the sun doesn't shine because we don't care about that.
Ooh.
I think that speaks volumes. This is not a team that has mailed it in. I do feel like there is something to be said for that. Now, I don't want to be a hypocrite because I pride myself on my consistency. I also don't feel like that, the last 2 games should really dramatically move the needle. Because by now, if you don't know whether or not you want Kevin Stefanski to be your football coach in 2026, you're running your organization wrong. He's been here for 6 years. You know what he's about, okay? You know the product on the field. There's no mystery here that needs to be solved. Not only yesterday, but also the season finale Sunday at 1 p.m. in Cincinnati. So while I respect that maybe the ownership hasn't made a decision just yet, I would say that the resume is there. You know who Kevin Stefanski is, and you should be able to make that decision without waiting for, hey, let's see if they beat the Bengals, and then that's going to decide Kevin Stefanski's fate.
I think
that's nonsense.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe that the organization has made their decision one way or the other about Kevin?
I think so.
Okay. So do you think that it's probably to move on from Kevin?
I'm leaning in that direction.
Okay, so that's where I think I agree with you on all this because I said to Lima earlier today, I was like, man, if we're going to sit there and, now he's got to stay after the last 2 games of the season.
Right.
To me, that's the football equivalent. Because Lima's like, well, you could see yourself being 1-5 to start out next year and wondering why you didn't do any of this and wasting more time. And I think it's the football equivalent of having a kid just to save a relationship. Right. No, this is a big, every year you commit to what you're doing is it's a much bigger commitment than we think. It's a massive undertaking to look for a new head coach, general manager. I know all that, but man, you've had a lot, and to have to back up what would be 8-25 over the last couple of years gosh. And I mean, I saw the way, you're right, but you know what? I saw a game in Chicago where I just didn't want to be there.
That's true. I mean, it was below 0 and all that.
But you know what? Your job's your job, and I know the season is out of hand. But man, I just don't want to be there in that spot. Do yourself a favor, do him a favor. If you're in that spot, you feel you could be in that spot next year where you're 1-5, then yeah, probably it's best for everybody. It's probably best for everybody to move on.
It's your point about the Chicago game, Ken. The week before, they lost by 2 points, right? They lose to Buffalo by 3 points. So it's not like that was the type of result we were getting for the last month and a half with the season down the drain. I think that there's, I think you have to look at that. The loss to the Ravens was a 1-score game. It was 23-16.
But at the same time, I'll tell you this: we've been blown out 5 times this year in the league. You're really not supposed to be blown. And that's, you know what? That's not even just him. That's an Andrew Berry thing as well.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I'm with you,
and I'm staying consistent. It's got to be. It's got to be none or both. I am not in favor of them firing Kevin, but keeping Andrew. I think that they should be a package deal. I think Andrew Berry is just as culpable for the problems they've had on the field as Kevin Stefanski. Okay? And I realize those are 2 separate issues, personnel versus how games are managed and preparation and all that. I get it. But do you really think that with the talent, the offensive talent that Kevin was given in the last couple of years, how many more victories should Kevin have had? Now, I know you guys are asking me the questions. I'm going to ask you one back. How many more wins should the Browns have had in these last 2 seasons with the offensive talent he had been given to work with?
Probably 2.
Okay. Now, does that really move the needle
I said probably.
You?
No.
Okay. So then that's that. I'm with you there too, Ken. They should have won the Minnesota game earlier this year. Absolutely. Kevin blew that one, right? Maybe they win another game last year, but let's also be honest about the situation. We can be critical of Kevin and some of the things he's done and how he's done them and the results that have followed, but also at the same time, let's look what he's been given to work with, okay? And everything that comes with his job too. So that's why I'm like, if you're making changes, make them wholesale. It can't just be Kevin because you still don't solve the problem, and part of the problem has to do with the front office and the personnel that's been brought in here.
Daryl, thank you very much for the time. It certainly was sexy. Have a great New Year.
You bet, guys. Happy New Year.
Daryl Ryder. And he is brought to you by Kayla.
Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Coming up in just about 20 minutes or so. I got a hell of a conundrum for everybody, but coming up here in about 5 minutes, the reason why I would 100% guarantee Shador in 2026 right now that you have to hear at 8:45 on The Fan.
6533. 800-568-6533.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
From the Kissling, Nestico, and Reddick Traffic Center, call 1-800-HURT-NOW.
This report is brought to you by Wayside Furniture in Akron, keeping it local since 1937.
Stop by Wayside Furniture's year-end furniture clearance with unbelievable savings for every room in your home. 1367 Canton Road, just south of Route 224, Wayside in Akron. Keeping it local since 1937.
There is a crash on Brook Park Road at Chevy Boulevard. Traffic's light northbound on 71 from the Turnpike to West 25th. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
Hurricanes, Buckeyes, on New Year's Eve in the Cotton Bowl playoff. Whenever you need to talk college football, we've got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Daryl just joined us, which to many people, Daryl, I was thinking the other thing I was going to ask him, and people, I should have jumped them, but you.
So I sat there and I said, well, Daryl, because we are comparing, obviously this is what you do. You compare what you have versus what could be coming out in the draft versus what could be available in free agency, depending on your resources. And so the obvious comparisons, and now the Browns might have played their way out of having a chance to just go up and grab one of the top two quarterbacks. They would have to, juice the pot, and that might not be enough now. Today, season ended today, they'd be drafting 6th. They could even fall down to 7 with a win over Cincinnati.
That's as far as they can go, because I was one. Okay.
They could also move up to 2, but they would need 1,000 things to go their way, which probably won't. And of course, it involves beating Joe Burrow, who looked amazing yesterday, but he has struggled against the Browns, certainly in some games. So I said, well, wait a second. Quarterback of Indiana, Mendoza, is got the height attributes, right?
Yeah.
Little on the leaner side, but you imagine, just like all the guys, same thing, Shedeur. Shedeur was very lean coming out. You imagine they'll gain some muscle and gain some weight. Arm certainly looks good enough. It's not cannon arm, but it's certainly good enough. He has mobility. He can take off and run. Go look at some of his long runs. Mm-hmm. He's very fleet of foot, Mendoza. He joins Indiana, which was good last year. Clearly, the next year, he took them to another level. Like, they had no shot to beat good teams last year with the OU quarterback, Rourke. Get the Rourkes mixed up. There were 2 of them.
There was Curtis
brothers.
and I think Nathan.
Yeah, they had Curtis. And clearly, he's been the difference. Like, he's taken them to another level to the point where they beat Ohio State. Now they're number 1.
Plumlee of quarterbacks.
Yes, and they're ranked number 1. And they have a chance to go undefeated and win the national championship. He already won the Heisman. And Daryl's like, well, what's the track record of Heisman Trophy winners? Which is a good point, except for Caleb Williams just won the Heisman and is looking unbelievable.
But if you're going track record,
but I listed
probably
all those
more on
things.
Daryl's side.
But I listed all those things.
So this is
so you're telling me if Mendoza goes on and wins the national championship, he's not going to be in the maybe not Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence category, but he's going to be pretty damn high up. People are going to be like, that's the easiest number 1 card turn-in ever.
If they had the number 1 or number 2 overall pick, I would tell everybody, I go, wait a minute, are you just afraid to take a QB? Because you can't just sit there and argue about how they need everything else. You need to tell me why you believe in Shedeur for 2026. That's what you need to say. It's not about, well, we know they need all this. They're drafting at the top of the draft. Every team at the top of the draft needs a bunch. It's, do you believe in Shedeur? But now they're drafting 6th. And depending on what happens next Sunday, they could be drafting 7th. And if they're drafting there, I don't think I'm willing to give up all that to just go to number 2 to get Dante Moore. I'm not that high on Dante Moore. I'm really not, guys. There's something... And even though the conversation has started to turn into, he could be really QB1, I go, yeah, I think there's a lot of things that because we're in a 24-hour sports cycle now, I think there's a lot of things we're saying things to say them. And just wondering when we there's and I'm guilty of it too. There's always those things. You just got to ask: is he really the QB1? And it makes me go, nah. But I don't want to talk myself out of quarterbacks every single year. But I'm gonna tell you,
which is what it sounds like. I think people are doing.
And I agree with you. If we were still drafting number 2, but if we're 6 or 7, and you think about what you have to give up to get that guy. I got to be damn sure I think that guy, or in my heart of hearts, is as strong as I've ever felt about that guy. But I'll tell you this. Like, if you're drafting 6 or 7, I'll turn my card in over again for Shedeur to be the starting quarterback in 2026. Mac Jones, let's have that conversation. All right? But if you give me any, and I told you this before, but anybody who's just clicking in, if we're doing this, somebody put out Kyler Murray before Christmas. I almost threw up all over my phone. Somebody put out Tua Tagovailoa before Christmas. I almost slammed my head in a dumpster.
I would take Shedeur over those, with all things considered.
I would take Shedeur over them.
I'm not saying he's going to have a better career.
Let me tell you this.
Hold on. I'm not saying he's going to have a better career than those guys.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to tell you this, though.
I right now, at this stage of their careers and where he is and on his contract, I would take him.
And I guess I'm going to be a major league bastard about this next spring or next or summer/fall. Because if you want to bring Deshaun Watson back, go ahead. You're paying him $46 million, whether you like it or not. It ain't no competition to me. Shedeur's your starter. I'm not falling for that ever again. I tried to meet you halfway on the Deshaun Watson stuff. He's broken physically. How many injuries has he had? He didn't want to be here. I don't care. I don't care about any sort of redemption story. If he does, fine. Stick it in my ear. Shedeur. If it comes down to Shedeur or Deshaun Watson, not that Deshaun hasn't been a nice teammate and all that other stuff that we like to say now. It's Shedeur's team. I'm not wasting my time with anything else. Bailey Zappi or...
I think everybody agrees with you. You're not really arguing with anybody.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
I'm not, because I'm not having my time wasted.
If it were...
We're not doing this because I know but I'm saying this, you know what's going to happen. Oh, he's looked really good in practice, and, they're still paying him all that money, and, at one point, he was an MVP-style player in this league. No, we're not doing that.
No, if it were him from 5 years ago, it'd be a no-brainer.
Of course, but you wouldn't have that conversation. You wouldn't have taken Shedeur in the 5th round had it been 5 years ago. So I maybe I'm not sticking it over the fence the way I thought I was, but I just know how this conversation's going to go, and you guys mark my words, he'll be on the team going into next year, and you will hear how good he is in camp from certain people as we get ready for next year, and I'm not falling for it again. We're not doing that again. It's Shedeur, not Dylan Gabriel, not Bailey Zappi, certainly not Deshaun Watson. If it comes down to those guys, it's Shedeur. If it's Tua Tagovailoa or Kyler Murray, I shun what's going to happen in 2026.
Yeah, but what if it's Malik Willis? What if it's Mac Jones? Is it a competition? Or are you just not bringing them in because you don't even want to deal with it?
Not Malik Willis. Maybe Mac Jones. Mac Jones, I think Malik Willis is Malik Willis.
Which is what?
Middle of the road guy. Mac Jones, I think he has some talent. I think he was set off by a bad game plan from a person who can no longer be a great judge of talent in the NFL.
I mean, Malik Willis has started 6 games. He's 26 years old, was a third-round pick, and has definitely flashed.
Malik Willis
right?
Also
he's flashed in the same way Shedeur has flashed.
I understand that, but Malik Willis also has offensive coaches that coach offense. They didn't take their defensive coordinator and make him the offensive coordinator, and they expect that to be successful. And plus, I will say, the price you could end up giving up for Mac Jones might be against Shedeur. So that's why definitely I'll have the conversation about Mac Jones. And there might be a couple of others. Maybe some are not realistic, but no, if we're going to do the whole Deshaun Shedeur thing, no, it's Shedeur. And then I would say in 9 out of 10 cases, outside of the draft, outside of anything crazy happening in the draft, it's Shedeur. It's him. Because I know some people are making the joke about like, oh, wow, he's not unplayable. Well, you really set a high bar around here. No, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this right. I got time. Maybe Andrew Berry doesn't, which is scaring me about next year. Maybe Kevin Stefanski only has until the end of this week, but I just want to get it right. So if he's playing better and better and better, maybe I want to give him a little bit more time and see what he can do instead of forcing it from 6th or 7th to the number 1 or number 2 overall pick and taking even more away from what I have. Because I think that they're both can be. I think Fernando Mendoza is going to be a really good quarterback. Do I think he's going to be worth what you have to give up? Not there yet.
Well, if he's really good, he's worth it every time. Because
I should say I think he's going to be a good quarterback.
Really good quarterbacks,
I don't know about really.
They make up for how bad an offensive line is, how bad the receivers are. I mean, look at Drake May this year.
We got a lot of people want to call in. Also, culture win, 922. Lima hates it and wants to talk about it at 922 on The Fan. to Rodney in Litchfield. Hello, Rodney.
Looks like that.
Rodney.
Lars is fine.
Rodney.
That's it.
Hi. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's 244 on it.
I don't think that's going to work for Rodney.
No, it's not. It probably ain't going to work for anybody because we're they think we're in a break right now. Let me try John in Vegas. Hello, John.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning, John. Go right on ahead.
I just need to correct Lima real quick. You're talking about Mendoza lifting the Indiana roster up, but he more brought the roster with him. It was something like 70% of the players on the team came with him this year. He did not go to a bad team and elevate it. He just brought in a whole bunch of folks.
I said they were good last year, but they had no shot to actually beat the best teams. Now they beat the best team. They beat Ohio State.
You compared him to the quarterbacks last year and acted like what he did this year was different.
It was. He was much better than Rourke was last year. Like, nobody would debate that.
He was much
You're
better.
the only one, actually, that would debate it. You don't think Mendoza's been amazing this year?
You're leaving out context. They brought in 70% of the roster.
I brought the context. I said they had a quarterback last year that was good. He has been exponentially better, and in big moments, the drive at the end of the game against Penn State. By the way, Penn State had kind of turned their season around, Kenny. Okay,
no, the context is that he's with a totally different set of talent on the field. How can you compare two things when they're not?
So you don't think Mendoza's the guy that everybody says is probably going number one overall? You just don't think he's good?
I think he's Kirk Cousins. He's not worth going that high.
Okay, I mean that's a question. I mean, if we've had Kirk Cousins the last 6 years, I think we'd be much happier with the state of affairs for the Browns than not. But I get what you're saying.
Stefan's his coach, so I'd argue that. That's a whole different conversation. I love you guys so much. I'm fanboying a little bit. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, John. We appreciate it, and thanks for sticking with us there through that mishap. All right, are we good to go now? All right, we'll get back to business when we come back. Give us a few minutes. We'll get it all corrected with the computers here. Ken Carman, Tone Master General, take us with you to work if you're working today, or turn us on YouTube. Turn off the Bluey. Turn on the Tone Master General and me, and let the kids watch on YouTube for free.
This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns. 92.3 The Fan. An Odyssey sports station. Could changes be coming for this Browns regime? Don't miss a minute, as breaking news could happen at any moment, and you'll hear it here first.
Delay of game, offense.
This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns. 92.3 The Fan.
This is some good stuff, man.
Well, it's way better than talking about what we might have been talking about if they just got run off the field these last few weeks. Instead, they have been very competitive, and then they could have won the. They won this game.
Real Xavier P. Social media reactions are brought to you by who, Kayla?
Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Thank you very much, dear. Real Xavier P. asked me about Zach Zinter. Asked us about Zach. You know what? I'm watching because I told you I'm like, what are we doing with now? Wyatt got hurt again. Are you saying Wyatt got hurt again yesterday?
Supposedly, yeah. Okay. It was rotating again, and then.
So from what I'm seeing, and again, I'm up there in the 537. I'm BS, and so it wasn't like I have eagle eyes on things there. I got to tell you, I'm watching in the L22 here. He's doing a fair job. I think he's doing a fair job, and I was told he was unplayable earlier this year, to the point obviously they weren't even dressing him. So but okay, well, we'll see. Maybe that's one where the lights will come on for Andrew Berry.
That would be nice because they need to fill 5 potential holes here, no matter whether it's Shedeur or anybody.
Sounds like it's a lot. Get the latest from Browns practice throughout the week right now on our YouTube channel. Daryl Ryder recaps each and every practice and game while featuring the best highlights from coaches and players during media availability as well as on the field. Subscribe now, 92.3 The Fan on YouTube Live and YouTube Now. Get all the latest from Daryl Ryder on the Browns throughout the entire football season. They got one to go during the regular season. Browns won yesterday. This is crazy. I'm starting to get a lot of pushback on Shedeur. Like, Kenny, you can't be thinking about 2026. I'm like, how could I not be thinking about 2026 after yesterday? And it's not based on just beating the Steelers. Like, yes, I was excited about beating the Steelers. I'm an excitable boy. But now that you're in the 6th spot, or possibly even if you beat, like, the Bengals now are a possibility. If you beat the Bengals next week, you're the 7th spot. I'm going to trade all this up for what? Who's number 1? The Raiders? Raiders ain't giving up number 1. Raiders ain't giving up number 1 for nothing. So that's a non-starter.
That's a team that understood the assignment about losing at the end of the year.
Yes. They ain't giving up. So you're basically looking at trying to go after.
Their offensive line was as bad as ours, if not worse.
Terrible. But did you see the Mason Crosby video?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do people know about the Mason Crosby video? So they put him on IR and then announced he's probably going to need knee surgery, and Mason Crosby decided to post a video of himself playing basketball with his kids. So we got that going on in the NFL. That's going to be an interesting week. I'm just looking at what the prices are. Am I willing to do all this and move up for the 2nd pick? If the Vegas Raiders were open for business, let's talk. But I got to come up from 6 or possibly 7 to go to Vegas. It's not going to happen. Vegas ain't getting out of that spot. So I got to go from 6 to possibly 7 to get up to number 2. Even though you just told me, and you're right, I may need to replace 5 positions on my offensive line next year. That's just on the offensive line. We haven't started to talk about wide receiver yet. Now, it can't all be addressed in one offseason. So Shedeur or anybody is going to have to deal with not a full offensive line, 2/5 at times an offensive line, which ain't going to be a lot of fun. So Shedeur might have to deal with it. Everybody might have to deal with it. But it's like, well, wait a minute here. Let's see if there's gold here before I go looking for it elsewhere. Now, I don't want to just get excited about the 2027 draft class and go, well, there's so many more guys. Hey, we thought there were going to be a bunch of guys this year.
We thought that was this year.
And there wasn't a bunch of guys this year. But you can't switch up some of the things you've been thinking about because they won. And I didn't think they were going to win yesterday. I didn't know a lot of Browns fans who did think they were going to win yesterday. And now if they might win next week, because if you're able to win this game, well, maybe you can win against the Cincinnati Bengals. That just makes the price more prohibitive. And I don't think I really want to make that investment right now, but I'm not willing to rule it all out. I want to see more Dante Moore. Maybe I'm going to be singing a different tune by the end of next month. But damn, man, I see that. I think it's a lot. I saw Shedeur. I'm not one, guys, I like Shedeur. I'm not one of the guys who's going to sit here and make every single possible excuse possible for him. And I made a few. I have made a few.
Yeah, like we're done. We're probably done talking about reps, right? Like he's been the starter now for over a month and a half.
We're done with that. I think that he can get better for a full offseason with reps. I think he can do that. But I mean, let's be serious here. I think that there's something you can work with. And so when you say, well, he's not unplayable, and people laugh, yeah, man, I thought going from no reps to jokes about him throwing the ball boys, I thought it was going to be a disaster. I really did. I don't have much faith in the coaching staff, to be honest with you, at least on offense. I didn't have much faith in the lack of any experience whatsoever. I really thought that this was going to be a disaster, and I thought he's grown week by week. I did get eyes on the interception that he ended up throwing to Kyle Duggar. It was terrible. He admitted that. Fine. He's had 2 really, really bad picks in the last 4 weeks.
Oh, and he had a pick 6 that probably would have lost him the game, right?
I understand.
They definitely would have lost if Herbig holds onto that ball.
I understand that too, yes. But you got a rookie. Rookies are going to throw picks. We're going to have a little bit.
He's just thrown the most of them.
If you're going to make this investment, you're going to have patience going into next year. Or are you willing to guarantee 2026 patience? Because maybe it wasn't tough talking as I thought it was going to be. It's just like, I'm not doing this stupid stuff with the guys we already have in this quarterback room and saying that that's a competition. It's not. They'll call it a competition. It's Shedeur. That's what I meant by that. I'm not trying to be tough talking Kenny over here. Just let's not insult each other's intelligence and emotions again and do this Deshaun Watson crap all over again. No, give me Shedeur and let me see what he's got. And if Deshaun Watson wants to be a good teammate and be his backup, so be it. 216-474-0092. If you disagree, fine, let me have it.
I just don't think there's any way you could look at his body of work, which is, becoming more substantial. It's still not going to be the full season evaluation or any of that. But if you compare him to Tyler Shough, like Shough has been way, way better. If you even look at Cam Ward over the last 5 weeks, he's number 1 overall pick, so you'd hope that he would look better. Mm-hmm. But he's been way better, too. I think he's got 9 touchdowns, 1 interception in that run. Shedeur's mistakes are the hard part, because it's one thing to just dismiss the mistakes as rookie mistakes, but as we know, Jameis Winston never got rid of those mistakes. Baker, he's still throwing the same interceptions now that he threw in year 2 when he was struggling. We always assume that quarterbacks are going to get better year to year. We also know that C.J. Stroud's second year, way worse than his first. Jordan Love's second year, way worse than his first. Jaden Daniels' second year, way worse than the first. So I do think we can get caught up in assuming that there's going to be this linear year-to-year development, and Shedeur 3 years from now is going to be way better than he is now. We have so many countless examples where that isn't the case. So my question is, if you're doing the evaluations on him, he's committing a lot of the same mistakes he made in Colorado, which led to him slipping in the draft. How do you know, how much are you willing to gamble on that? Now, look, they're not going to have the number 1 or number 2 overall pick. They had a chance. Then you would have been comparing. How do you know that compared with someone who could go number 1 or number 2? But now you're comparing him to, the eligible free agents, the eligible veterans.
I'm also, and boy, we're gonna go in the weeds here for a second, because now I'm gambling with the other picks that I have, the 27th overall pick, right? Say I don't make a move and I go with Shedeur. I got to be able to hit on my number 6 overall pick, and I got to be able to hit on 27. I got to be able to try to hit on my second round pick, and then it just becomes more and more unlikely. This was a credit where it's due, because you're going to probably hold on to the guy, so I got to give some sunny disposition here. This last year was a good draft, so you're probably going to hold on to Andrew Berry, right? Right.
I don't know.
Well, it seems that they are. So if they're going to hold on to Andrew Berry, I got to give some sort of credit there, and I've been willing to say that, yeah, certainly, I think everybody's been willing to say it was a good draft in 2025. Now you have to hit on that stuff that much more, because if I'm giving that up, I'm going to be missing all those other players with a Dante Moore. And if I'm missing all those other players, then I'm right back having the same conversations that I'm having about Shedeur Sanders right now. You'd rather have those guys, get those guys there, not have to make such a desperate trade up, and then let Shedeur Sanders have the wheel for this year. Knowing that if you do move on from Kevin Stefanski and we are right back here as a 5-win team next year and things don't go that well, You will hold the feet to the fire, Shador. That'll be a done deal. And then we're already going to have a bad taste in our mouth about head coach X. And then we'll probably be, if you're still not a good team, are we just waiting on Andrew Berry then? And if you're waiting on Andrew Berry, are we just stacking and throwing decks off from each other here? So that's something this organization needs to consider. So when Daryl says it's either all of them or none of them, I agree with Daryl. Because I'll be holding my breath, because if we don't think that this team is going to be a really good football team again, is next year going to be too much for the fan base? And is next year going to be too much for the ownership to go, fine, now it's time for Andrew Berry to go? Well, now we're just rearranging places. I know they don't want to make moves, and I get that. I understand there's a need and a want to be stable and known to be stable. But if now we're just moving guys around, we're just not going to get on the same page. Hell or high water, at least I want them to feel like we're on the same page. 216-474-0092. I'm going to get to all you guys coming up on this. And yesterday, was it a culture win? Hone says Boulder Dash. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app.
listen and follow Free Range with me, Von Miller, wherever you get your podcast.
Cheese melted all the way to the edge. Dough baked golden to perfection. It's not pizza, it's Jets. With the thickest, crispiest, cheesy to the edge Detroit-style crust on the planet. Jets. Better because it has to be.
When there's news that affects the Cleveland sports fan, Daryl Ryder is on top of every headline. Listen to his reports on the station with the most local sports talk in town. 92.3 The Fan. Powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. The radio home of the NFL in Cleveland.
This penalty's declined.
We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
You're going to open up that. Oh, I can't wait. Not today. Don't do it today. One day, Lima's going to open up a can of worms, and it might end up with me in a meeting over a totally different publication. I can't wait. You want to. And now it's the holidays. Not going to do it now. That's why you got to be hanging on every word. Because they did it on purpose, and you know that. You know it. Don't deny it. You're not saying anything into the radio.
I'm just waiting
so that
for
means
them.
That you know that they did what they did.
I'm waiting for them to actually honor people that live and work in Cleveland, Ohio.
Well, you know, you can wish in one hand and you know what in the other, buddy.
Hey,
boy.
Here's someone who spent some time in the airport. Let's make them the most interesting people in Cleveland.
You're going to open up that door for me. You're going to open up that door for me.
Hey, she had a P.O. box for 2 years in Cleveland. She's interesting. Let's put her on the list.
Never again. It will never be acknowledged by me. I will acknowledge them in a very ugly way someday.
We've
and
both
after
been
that,
in there.
I will not be acknowledging them.
For various reasons.
I know what you did while you did last year, and I know it's funny to a lot of folks, but you weren't laughing with me, so I'm going to let you have it at some point. Ridiculous. But the Browns won yesterday, and I'm happy about the Browns winning. Do I like the Browns winning too much? Because when the Browns win a game like that, and I'm there, and I'm with a Steelers fan who I love to antagonize, I will almost believe anything. I mean, everything is great. Like, oh, yeah, Andrew Berry needs a lifetime contract, and so does Kevin Stefanski. And if you guys want to call it a culture win, hell yeah, it's a culture win. Till Lima says, oh, that's Bolsheviks. So tell me where we're wrong saying culture win. Shador said culture win yesterday, right?
Yeah.
All right, and you say that's Bolsheviks. Do you just disagree with everything Shador says, and that's what you want to do? Or, I mean, do you have a reason to back this up?
No, I didn't even know he said that. I heard fans saying it yesterday, and I had to laugh because we always stumble into late season wins that, of course, hurt you in the draft, which I didn't come on today and say anything about that. Like, I didn't say that the players should have, tanked it out or anything, because what do they care? What does Myles Garrett care about any of that? Actually, Myles might have been the one who should have tanked it out because you could have gotten a better quarterback potentially. But obviously that's not going to happen, and Stefanski's not going to tank it out. He wants to win games. And they went on their merry way and won a game and made people like you in the stands and Browns fans everywhere excited to beat a rival.
Happy, yes.
But we've beaten Pittsburgh before with DTR. That wasn't a culture win. We won to avoid going 0-16 the year that who was it? The Pierogi Prince? Who was it that blocked the field goal?
That was Jamie Meter.
Jamie Meter. That didn't help the culture. Nobody sat there and said this is a culture-defining win, especially now in the NFL.
I disagree.
Where, you thought that was a culture-defining win when they went 1-15?
No.
No, of course not. Was it when DTR beat Pittsburgh? No, you didn't think that.
Hold on.
Stefanski, we went over the record. Stefanski's 12-6 at home against the AFC North. Were all those culture-defining wins. I think these are things we say to make us feel good going into an offseason after a disastrous
year. I totally disagree. Here's Shador yesterday on the culture win.
In the building and everything, we've been pretty consistent with what we've been doing. The only difference is now we got the result we were supposed to get, So I don't think the difference between a win and loss is a couple of plays. It wasn't about how you're going about your business, how you're doing everything. Everybody's going about their business the same way. Everybody's extremely locked in, extremely focused on what they got to do. But today we just got the result we was looking for.
So I agree with him, and I think you're full of it, and let me tell you why. And you won't give me a chance to say anything because you started talking so damn fast because I know how you are. But let me tell you this. Going back to the Chargers win with Jamie Meter. Was Joe or Joe not crying after that win?
Was he? I don't know.
Yes, Joe Thomas, your personal friend.
I was laughing about that win.
Well, your personal friend was crying after that win. What do you think of that? That's not a culture win? You don't know nothing about teamwork. You don't know nothing about being accountable to anybody else.
Was it
so of course it wouldn't be culture for you.
Was it a cultural win when Deshaun Watson slugged through that game against
don't try
Washington?
To sit there and find a bunch of different
Washington
things.
On January 1st, where he threw for 140,
it wasn't that.
169 yards and got a game ball.
So you're just going to think of every sloppy win and say it's a culture. It's not a culture win. You gave me specific examples.
We're so desperate to call anything a win late in the season that we want things to make us feel good about an otherwise disastrous year.
I know that you hate everything, and so you don't want anybody to have any let up on anything.
I do hate this season, yes.
Yes, I know you do.
Me.
You've made that abundantly clear.
Guilty as charged, Your Honor.
So much that
so
much so that you will find different excuses so you don't have to go to a Browns game and sit with the fans.
I don't think
so much that you hate sitting with the fans. You don't want to be seen with them.
I don't think I need a bunch of reasons to act like 4-13, which is probably going to be their final record.
Let me tell you
to act like they have turned it around. They've turned the corner.
So they beat the Steelers walking around like they were doing against the Chicago Bears?
What do you mean?
So
I thought Shador tried to gift them the game in the second half. They didn't take it.
But they didn't. So they didn't. And the defense could have just went, you know what, that's it.
No, the defense was awesome.
We're committing stupid turnovers, that's it.
The defense was amazing.
So again, tell me where that's not a culture win.
The defense has been amazing. Last year they were amazing. This year they were amazing. That didn't change the culture of the team.
They weren't amazing last year, actually.
They had a bunch of
amazing last year.
They had some of the best DVOA games last year. I've seen the stats. I've seen all the numbers.
I know you're very into charts now that AI has helped you make the charts.
This defense is for 2 years has had some of the best games any defense in the NFL has had.
But again,
that didn't change the culture.
You're not giving me a pushback on this. It's not a good pushback. I said they walked around against Chicago. I thought that team was dead in the water and didn't care anymore, and they still went out and they still beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, you ain't beating the Pittsburgh Steelers with all the great talent you have that's on your football team now, are you?
I mean, the Dolphins won 4 of 6 here down the stretch. Did they change their culture?
I'm talking about the Cleveland Browns.
I'm talking about other teams culture. Because we're not.
I don't know about their culture. I know about the Browns.
Sometimes, Kenny, we're in our bubble too much. We're not able to be honest.
And you're talking about
how things actually work in the league. And I'm comparing the Browns, who won a December game.
You can
hip hip hooray! They've done that before.
Compare the Browns to anybody you want. I'm talking about the Browns.
They've done it before, and I remember the fans, and so I don't just forget all this after every season. I stockpile all these situations, and then when you come to me or fans come to me and are like, we beat the Steelers, this is going to be the beginning of something special, I'll remember that.
I didn't say it was the beginning of something special.
What is it?
No.
So what was it? You said it was culture defining.
It can be a culture win. I didn't know if it was defining.
So what do you think it is?
You have to be able to
So
rely
now you're starting to walk it back. What do you think it is?
No, I'm not walking anything back. You have to be able to have a decent...
Beep, beep. He's actually going backwards.
Are you going to be a child here?
Yes, I am.
Are we going to do this the right way?
Yes, I am. I've given you 20 examples already this segment.
And you give me bad
examples.
examples.
You have not refuted anything.
Yes, I
so
just
what
refuted.
Are you willing to,
I can't imagine how many more I can refute.
I want Kenny
to speak on my own show for a second?
Go on record. Okay. I want Ken to go on record so I can play this next year in early October when the Browns are out of the playoff hunt.
I didn't say that was going to carry over to next year.
And Kenny's going to act like the win over the Steelers.
It was going to carry over to next year.
Then it's not culture defining. Champions pose, both shoulders, and a pat on the back.
Are they going to fire the coach? Are they going to fire the coach?
I don't know. I think they are.
If you think they are, then you can't be talking about culture because it can't carry over if you don't have the new coach.
I mean, thank you.
So if you have the new coach, obviously there's going to be a difference. But it can count to this culture this year.
Case
it could have counted to that culture that year. Obviously, you had guys who still cared that didn't want to make history. That's why they were so excited when they beat the Chargers back in December or whenever it was, on Christmas Eve, whenever it was, 2016, I think it was. That's why they were so excited. That's why they were so sad when they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers and finished 0-16. And that's why yesterday they were able to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, because clearly they still care. That's what people are talking about when they talk about culture.
Yeah, they've never given up.
You don't spend enough time around teams. You don't want to be spending time around teams. I don't know about the Dolphins. I don't cover the Dolphins.
This team's got a little too much stink on it. I don't feel like being around that.
I'm not talking about the Dolphins. I'm not talking about anybody else. Name all these other teams. I'm talking about the Browns here.
I think this is a great weed out for people that understand the league, because I think there are fans in every city. Look,
but I'm not saying it's for next year.
Yesterday, 16 over this this weekend, 16 teams will win, 16 teams will lose. And of all those losing teams that win, they will try to convince themselves that their culture has changed.
So why did they win the game?
And people like me will laugh at you.
So why did they win the game?
And I will laugh
How
heartily,
did they win the
just
game?
like I'm
Why did they
laughing
win
at
the
you
game?
right now.
How did they win the game? You're not laughing at all. How did they win the game?
Now
you are laughing. How did they win the game? How did they win it? Was it with their great talent? They're exceptional football talent that the Cleveland Browns had. That's how they beat the Steelers.
We had Miles Garrett. I mean, that's pretty.
We had
Denzel Ward.
We had Denzel Ward. How many games
good.
have we lost this year with Miles Garrett and Denzel Ward both on the football field?
We've lost a lot of games.
You want to say checkmate after that?
And if we have them next year,
how many games have we lost before?
They're probably going to lose a bunch more games.
So again,
because it's not culture defining.
If guys would have just walked around, how we would have won? Because you just said it.
They haven't
We don't
quit.
have that great of talent.
I said that they haven't quit, but their culture is.
By the way, Aaron Rodgers isn't going to the Hall of Fame?
Awful yesterday.
Okay, Miles Garrett has had bad games too.
4th and 1. Let's fling it 30 yards down the field to receivers that are awful.
Okay, so he was bad yesterday.
That was good decision making.
But he was bad yesterday. Somebody had to make him bad yesterday. But okay,
we did.
He's had
we have a good defense,
sterling career.
But
he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Kenny, but we're the team that has the talent yesterday.
We have a really good defense.
Please.
Next year on paper, we should have a really good defense again. And Vegas will have them at 4.5 wins to start the season. And you could probably make a lot of money betting the under.
You are showing just how little you know about team building. You are showing just how little you know. I'm serious here. You are showing just how little you know about team building. You are showing just how little
how much I know about the league
being together.
And the Browns.
I hope that the parents on the team, that when you coach your kids, I hope the parents of those other kids on their teams do not hold this against you. This is asinine. It's asinine. We were talking about
the best part of this is, guys,
you don't
Kenny agreed with me that
if
Stefanski gets fired this week, goodbye to that culture-defining attitude or anything, because they're going to have a whole bunch of new guys.
Check the tape, America. I didn't never say once that this was all going to carry over to next year.
Then it's not culture-defining.
I didn't say it defined the culture.
Then you've agreed with me.
But you can't have
champions pose
you cannot
for a third time this segment. Guys, it's easy. It's getting too easy. It's too easy.
So they could have won that game if they all hated each other. And they weren't playing for Kevin Stefanski.
So wait, do you want guys on a 4-13?
Yesterday?
Do you want guys on a 4-13 losing last place team to love each other? If anything, that's a culture problem. I kind of like guys that aren't satisfied with losing. So you're telling me this team is satisfied? It's kumbaya all season after losses, loss after loss after loss. Buffalo game, we all love each other. We all hugged it out.
If they don't care, they're not going to win it.
We showed our chains on how amazing we are and had press conferences with our 8 production crews that work on the team and in the building.
Again, that's not germane to the conversation.
Is that the culture you want?
Germane to the conversation.
Losing team, but they all get along.
How many different distractions can you throw into an argument?
I'm using your own arguments against you one by one.
I'm just trying to keep you on the straight and narrow path here, but you're not doing it. You keep bringing up different distractions that I'm sure people who are barely paying attention to your terrible argument will hear and say, "Oh, that's why Lima just beat your ass in every single argument." No, because you guys don't listen to it because you guys are distracted by God knows what in life. But if you're actually paying attention to this foolishness, you'd understand what I'm saying. Because they don't all hate each other. Obviously, they didn't put on the coach as bad as the coach could be to a lot of us.
4-13
stuff. Yeah, they're not a good football team.
Congratulations.
So they won the game by accident yesterday.
No,
accident.
They played well. It's a game in December that probably goes away the minute they kick off next year in September.
Oh, obviously. And no, I never once made that argument.
And I'll laugh at any of you saying what the culture-defining win that they had in December.
I just want to point this out. When they're still struggling next year, when they're still trying to build again, and when they're still struggling next year, and when he tries to use this against me, never once did I say that this was going to carry over to next year. This is not the preseason matters argument. This is different. I did not once say that this is going to carry over. I'm talking about this year. I'm talking about this game with this team. That's what I'm talking about.
Now, maybe the Saints.
You're not. You keep giving different examples in different years and different teams.
The Saints have won 4 in a row, and their quarterback is balling.
I didn't realize.
So maybe with Tyler Shook, that is a culture-defining scenario.
Welcome back to WWLS, the home of the New Orleans Saints. This is Cleveland. This is 92.3 The Fan. We're talking about the Browns.
And I think the mistake fans here make is they don't compare the Browns to other teams. They just look at bad Browns teams.
You're telling me to compare culture to a culture I haven't been paying attention to. I've been paying attention to this team's culture.
I think fans here compare every team to Hugh Jackson, and they compare them to Eric Mangini, and that's where they go astray. They don't compare them to, Mike Vrabel and Drake May. That's who you got to compare with. You got to compare them to good teams.
I'm not comparing them to good teams because they're not good. So I can only compare them to what they have. They didn't beat the Pittsburgh. The Steelers didn't turn around and run backwards. mean, you're giving me all these other silly, stupid...
Aaron Rodgers did kind of flip the ball backwards 10 times yesterday.
You're giving me all these silly, stupid examples of things that don't make sense to this argument.
You want to avoid that record.
I can't speak to another team's culture. I don't stop in their locker room once or twice a week. I don't talk to their players off record. I don't talk to their people off record. But is that part of the problem? Is that why you think they have a good culture? Is because... No, because there's been plenty of times I've told you they've had a bleepy culture so many times over.
But what's worse? If you have a good culture and you can't win games, is that good?
I still think the defense, as bad as this team has been this year, the defense has had a good culture.
They have, and they let Carson Wentz go the length of the football field and end their season 5 weeks in.
These things happen. I don't know, but you can have a good culture and still have a bad outing there at the end of a football game.
Are you guys just going to do Homer Radio every single day here?
216-474-0092. All right, I'll see whether or not you guys agree with Tone or not. You guys are all half listening. Guarantee I'm just going to get killed here. This is what bothers me. Yeah, you wait until his kid, over you and Bay, you wait until your kids are all his age, and then he's coaching your teams. You come back and see me. A real team builder over here. Thank you very much. Ken Carman, Tone Master General on The Fan.
family, and future. Our attorneys are experts in OVI. We challenge sobriety tests with science to get your case reduced or dismissed and protect your future. If you've been arrested and charged with an OVI, call me. 440-516-3800.
Officer, can I get your perspective as a man of the law?
You know I'm a mall cop, right?
You see this Hyundai Santa Fe? I only paid for it.
Whoa.
Right? I'm not in trouble, am I?
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on all Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid models. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today. Offer ends January 2nd. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Want to talk Browns while you're at work? Baskin and Phelps, weekdays starting at 10 on 92.3 The Fan.
Back to our previously scheduled argument. In a moment, however, the Cavs play tonight. Cavs update brought to you by Surfside. Fine folks at Surfside ask you to please drink responsibly.
All right, I was pumped for the Houston game, Kenny.
It's a tasty beverage.
And then about 5 minutes in, you kind of realized that it wasn't a fair fight. And that was without their second best player. Şengün didn't play. Now you're going up against the team that has beaten Oklahoma City 3 times in like 12 days. The San Antonio Spurs with Wemby, and it's on Peacock, and they're coming off a loss. San Antonio's coming off a loss to Lauri Markkanen in Utah. So we're underdogs, not as big as I thought we would be. I'm a little nervous about this one. Their guards pressure the basketball. They're going to get into Darius.
I'm getting into a bad place after I had no interest in the Houston game. Some on Christmas got to me.
About the giving up the 17-point lead?
I love them. They're not serious people. And I just was like, man, I don't know I don't think they can change anything. I think you are who you are. And I can understand the conundrum. Like, people are going to start and finish with Jared Allen. Guys, I don't know. He still plays above his contract. I don't know what you can get in return that's going to make this situation better. And you can get a bunch of boxers out there and they can just start fist fighting anybody, but you're not going to win basketball games. You might be happy if you were like, hey, we're not winning basketball games anyway, so we might as well get in fist fights with everybody. Okay, that's understandable. I can respect that. But he outperforms his contract. I can't move from anybody else because we're in the second apron. And the rules are so prohibitive. Like, this is where it's at. And now, I think because people know the rules are so prohibitive, now we're going after Kenny Atkinson. I'm like, what is Kenny Atkinson? What's been the big change between last year and this year? Other than hoping that some guys are coming back from injury. And I just can't blame everything with injury. The window was supposed to be open. I mean, this is turning into the Ravens all of a sudden. Like, I called them the Ravens of the NBA at the beginning of the NFL season because nothing mattered in the regular season. It was all about getting to the postseason. You know what? Damn. I know you like to do a champion's pose. Here we are, and it's just, this is what they are.
It sucks.
And
it totally sucks.
We got to get tougher. We got to do this. I don't know, man. You guys have been telling us you got to get tougher for 4 years. And anytime the lights are bright, you fall to the side. Mitchell Robinson has embarrassed you every chance he's got, and you've never been able to have any retribution at all. So yeah, I'm in a bad place with them right now. By the way, I said Mason Crosby, not Max Crosby. I've made that mistake several times.
I apologize.
You had
too many Pittsburgh people.
Should have said David Crosby. Now that'd have been something.
Oh yeah.
All right. We got the Cleveland Browns preview show tonight. 7 o'clock. I don't know who the player is going to be yet. That's why you must be hanging on our every word, or you shall be lost.
Hopefully it's Devin Bush. I want to know what was said. Can you find out, please?
I didn't ask Daryl. Damn it.
Find out.
All right,
I don't think anybody knows.
Anybody find out later today. That's why you got to hang here. I wrote his name down and everything, and I forgot to ask Daryl. All right. Well, that's my bad. Have a wonderful week. From Lima and I, thank you for your time.
Yeah, it was a heck of a year.
It was.
I mean, not for our sports teams necessarily.
Wasn't all bad.
Yeah, Guardians made the playoffs.
2 out of 3 made the playoffs.
Cavs had an amazing regular season last year.
Yeah. Now I've kind of a little bit broke on them right now. Have a wonderful day, friends. Take care. Hey, Happy New Year.
Sounds good.
This is an Odyssey Sports Minute.
Sponsored by Robinhood, your money, your move. Playoffs on the line for the Pittsburgh Steelers. All they had to do was beat the Browns, and they couldn't. Aaron Rodgers and company failed to get it done. The door is still open for the Baltimore Ravens to make the playoffs in the AFC. Is Mike Tomlin gonna Mike Tomlin again and keep Steel City out of the postseason? Probably. I'm grateful.